Welcome to the Legendary Upside podcast and YouTube feed. My name is Pat Kerrane. You can follow all my content at legendaryupside.com. With me today, Rich Hribar of Sharp Football Analysis. Reebs, how's it going?
It's going good, man. We're approaching holiday season. We're coming off of Davis Mills QB1 overall week, and
You tried to tell us.
Yeah,
I talked to in the JJ McCarthy foolishly, but sounds like you still played Mills, which was the right move. So
yeah, I still threw him out there. I definitely was expecting QB1 type stuff. So, and it took a quarter of garbage time to completely get there, so I can't really pat myself on the back.
he's the Bo Nix of fill-in quarterbacks.
Hey, listen, we're coming off of a night where the world got to watch Drake May look awesome again. So, what could be better?
That Mac Hollins drop was a little disappointing, but
it was a great defensive play, to be fair.
It was. Yeah, drops maybe a bit rude. God, the throws. He just
isn't it.
We'll
the
get
best
to JJ
thing
McCarthy, but it's like the divide between those two, the style, the touch. It's crazy.
Is it my favorite thing in the NFL actually is to like DB celebrations. Like the Jets were awful all night. Like Drake May barely threw an incomplete pass, and like that dude made that play, and it was an awesome play. But it's like they hadn't stopped anything all night, and it's like this dude stopped. Like it was like it won the Super Bowl. Like seatbelts coming out. I'm doing seatbelt clamps. I'm doing everything. Like DBs are my favorite celebrators. Them and sack dances like are my
sack dance is what I was going to bring up. That's because you can be down like 40. And if you get a sack, you're dancing.
Because those are rehearsed. Like you have something in your head. Like if I get a sack, I'm popping this off today in this game.
But sack dances are fun too, because like those dudes are huge. So like they're just it's like a
big
lot
dudes.
of it's big dudes. It's so good.
Yeah, those are my favorite things. But I love it because like you get a defense just getting absolutely killed, or like a DB getting just murked the whole game.
Yeah.
It's like you make that one play, seatbelt initially coming out immediately.
Yeah. But honestly, like if we're we're headed towards an era where Amazon's gonna take over everything at some point. I'm Drake May in Prime Vision. I'm now rooting for Amazon just to get all the games. Get all the games, put them in Prime Vision. God, it was so good. It was so good.
And I know like football's been showed one way for so long, but what Prime Vision does for quarterback play in general is just so optimal because I know football's such a good TV sport, but there's so many layers where like you watch a regular football game traditionally and you're like, oh, that guy was wide open. But when you actually see a player like full speed in 2.5 seconds, layer a ball over a linebacker that's 12 yards downfield.
And you think he's throwing to the other guy, but there's a guy behind him.
It's just so the nuance. And we pick on some quarterbacks where like this dude's bad or whatever, but like there's a reason there aren't even 32 good humans on the planet that could do this job. Like it is like playing NFL quarterback is just silly. And Prime Vision like maximizes that. Like you fully justify it. You're like, this is so cool.
I love that like football is by far the best TV sport and has been for decades, and we were watching it wrong the whole time.
Yes. 100%. And they tried it. Do you remember like they tried to do like the Sky Cam? People were like, we hate this. And
yeah.
Oh, this is so good because like I said, you really factor in, like you really appreciate quarterback play when you watch it from that angle. And the running game, I would argue as well, too. Like
I think the running game is actually a lot more interesting in Prime Vision because you can see guys following the blocks. You can see like what the plays are way more than when you're from the side. It's like it's just hard to understand the block.
I think people are more turned off by when they do Prime Vision, like and I don't want to use the word casual, but like my father-in-law like won't want to watch it because there's like I don't want to see all these graphics, like I don't want to see all these things, like
yeah.
Just want to watch the game.
And Sam breaks in like a little too much, I'd say.
But it is, but that camera angle, like really, you appreciate the sport so much more the way it's played than because traditionally, like with the way you watch it, it's just we've just been ingrained visioning it that way.
Yeah, the one thing I don't love when they go like fully over top, where I'm like looking down from like the moon. I like when I'm behind because then I can see like the play, as it's unfolding. Like I'm the quarterback. You see it from the quarterback's point of view. It's awesome.
Yeah, listen, That's getting memed. There's nothing I can take away from that. it's out of context. It's gone. It's on the internet. That's on the internet forever. I don't
tell you. All right, let's go to Packers and Giants here. We'll kick it off. This is the first game in the 1 p.m. window that I covered in the walkthrough. I have Josh Jacobs as a cover boy, as we'll get to The Giants' defense is just not good against the run. The reason I'm excited about Jacobs especially is because the Packers, right? They lose to the Panthers, they lose to the Eagles. They play very conservatively in both games, minus 10% pass rate of expected in both games. They have LaFleur literally answering questions if he's coaching for his job.
Insane.
He got asked that. He actually is, in the sense that he is in the final year before he's in a contract year. And like we saw with Mike McCarthy, like that doesn't really happen. They don't let coaches like reach the end of their contract. You get extended when you're in the contract year, which means he'd be extended this offseason. So he is literally coaching to get an extension this offseason, which he will get. He's going to get it. It's kind of crazy from the perspective of like, yeah, they're obviously going to extend him, but if they were to like tank and flame out, it wouldn't be impossible for them to move on, which is why he's getting that question. And it's just been a really disappointing run, given that they had this really strong defense with Micah Parsons, who like is playing really well by all the numbers. They just aren't as a defense as dominant as you'd expect. They have this overly conservative offense, while at the same time having Jordan Love, who's like, I think third right now in EPA per game, behind Mahomes and May. Like, and May might have jumped Mahomes now after last night, but it's like it's just a frustrating offense, and people are getting frustrated. This setup, I think, allows LaFleur to make zero changes, and it just worked this time, which I think is exactly what he would like to do. Right? I'm right. He gets to prove us all wrong by running the crap out of the ball against the Giants and having his defense make life very difficult on a quarterback who turns the ball over in Jameis Winston, and frankly hasn't been all that good. He just has had a lot of volume, like really, really big drop back volume over the last, or in that Browns stint. Negative EPA, Jameis Winston with the Browns, but we got a ton of drop back volume. So I think this is like a spot where the Packers are really, really set up well here to play their game and for it to work. Jordan Love should also be very efficient against defense that just isn't all that great against the pass. Then he's going to be working off of a run game that should have a lot more juice than it normally does.
Yeah, 100%. This is just going to be a Josh Jacobs special, right? This is going to be where the defense is able to play their game against Jameis Winston. And because this Packers defense is predicated like high zone, get you off your first read, and then if you've got Jameis holding the football, this is like when mistakes happen, the sacks, the interceptions, all the bad Jameis stuff comes into play, and then you're just gonna feed Josh Jacobs like literally 25 touches. And we saw Josh Jacobs finally healthy on Monday night, which was working
78% of carries,
yeah,
highest of the year.
He was working through that calf injury. He had 93% of the backfield touches. He ran a route also on over 60% of the dropbacks, because one of the sneaky things that he's actually had going on this year that no one's really like kind of been bringing up is he's been involved as a pass catcher. Like
he's been pretty efficient too.
Yeah, he has at least 4 receptions in 5 of the past 7 games. So we're going to get a couple dump offs too, because it used to be like you can't play Josh Jacobs like on DraftKings. You can play him on FanDuel because it's fine. Like the old Jonathan Taylor corollary. But now he's catching
which was also wrong.
Yeah. And he's catching passes now too. But like you said, this is a spot and the touchdown equity with Josh Jacobs. Like even last week, like when that offense was completely inept, like he found a way to get his touchdown. It just go. Going back to last season, he has at least 1 touchdown in 19 of his past 21 games, 27 total touchdowns over that span. And then now he's getting faced, like you said, the league's worst rushing defense, most yards per carry, 29th success rate. Like it's going to be a big Josh Jacobs special game here for sure.
Yeah, and it's pretty obvious in the sense of like they're literally going against the worst run defense. The Packers love to run the ball. But I don't think, looking at early ownership stuff in DFS, I'm not seeing Josh Jacobs as like this big chalk piece that everyone's figuring out a way to play. And so I do think that for DFS purposes, Jacobs is a pretty fun play. He's not completely lost or anything, and he's 7,800, so he is expensive. You do need him to get in the end zone probably a couple times, but I think he does.
He probably does.
Yeah, he probably does. So he's someone that like I'm going to be prioritizing as one of the running backs that I pay up for, you know, in the lineups that I run this week. Anything else on the Packers side? I mean, you know, I think Romeo Dobbs is projecting pretty decently. I am kind of intrigued by Christian Watson, though. Neil Orfield was mentioning him as a play that he likes. If Matthew Golden is out, I kind of like Watson. He has been ramping up in his involvement. He was up to 83% route participation last week, 75% against the Panthers. And Giants play a lot of man, and he's been good against man in the past. This year, you know, he has a 10% targets per out running against man, but he's coming back off an ACL and is ramping up. Last year, he was at 33% with 3.34 yards per route run. And he seems to be that kind of classic deep threat role. He's got a 26.1 ADOT right now. So this would be a spot maybe where we see, oh, okay, Watson really is back. Maybe we get like 90% route participation and he's hitting some plays downfield as part of, you know, punishing this defense for trying to shut down the run.
Yeah, I do a show with Warren, and I give out my 3 like favorite player props of the week, and I had Christian Watson's longest catch over 20.5 yards as one of mine this week. Giants are 30th in receptions allowed to wide receivers on throws 10 or more yards downfield, and they've also have a lot of 41% completion rate and throws 20 or more yards downfield. They have allowed the second most completions of 20 or 5 or more yards to wide receivers too. So if they're going to be running Josh Jacobs, like the play action game, the man coverage stuff, like he's going to have a chance for shot plays in this game. It sounds like Dobbs is going to be back, and it sounds like Golden's going to be back, but that's still fine. Like they're just going to rotate those guys. They kind of cannibalize each other from a ceiling perspective, but there is opportunities here for him to be like, you know, flex worthy or to take like a flyer on it, like a cheap price.
Golden back definitely makes me less interested in Watson from a DFS perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still would like the longest catch prop. That's really good. But
that's the way that's like the angle I like took on it because it was
yeah,
just low. Like he has a catch of 25 or more yards in every game he's played. And I like some of those catch props too, like the longest rush, like for these guys that are like maybe like in timeshares because it's just the way to play through like one opportunity winning versus like, hey, this guy only get 4 targets. Like,
yeah,
like, you
yeah.
know. But
yeah, like,
I think it's gonna be a pretty clean Packer side though. Like, and it's a bummer because I think big picture, they're still just going to be missing. Like, this is a matchup where it won't show up, but like, I still think this Tucker Kraft injury is like significant for this offense.
he was their big man beater.
Yeah.
So
He just does everything. He's just a player that you can't replicate. Like, you can't replace him, like what he did for the entire offense.
You can't. I mean, Musgrave is like a different style of guy. He's more of, when he was starting as a rookie, he was kind of more of a downfield guy. And
he's like Dalton Kincaid, like kind of.
Yeah, he's kind of like Dalton Kincaid. Yeah. Or like Gadsden or Pitts or one of these guys who like threatens deep a little bit more. Dulcich, those types of dudes. But yeah, Kraft is like a Goddard or like, well, Bowers kind of does everything, but
like
you know, one of these like more yak guys. Yeah, like Kittle, like a yak.
Because he's awesome in the run game too. Like he just what's the systemically you can do with him on the field, like where you don't have to come like break any tendency.
Right.
Like there's no like he just does it. It's just, you just don't have that guy. Like there's a reason that they don't have a backup that could do that.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's looking like a star. He's like, yeah, you don't have a backup that's also.
It was a bummer too because he's having an awesome year too.
Yeah. On the Giants side, I kind of came away like not that excited about Winston here. I am excited that they're starting Winston. I think new head coach. You're like, we're not doing Russell Wilson. That's over with. I love that. Great. But just looking back at the Winston stuff, you know, those games where he was producing, he had a 75% pass rate. The Browns did against Denver in that game where he went nuts. He did have 497 yards and 4 touchdowns, so I'm not taking that away from him. But a lot of it was driven by really high volume. Against the Ravens, that was another really strong game. He went 334 and 3. They were at 66% pass rate. He also had 385 and 2 against the Saints. They were at a 73% pass rate. So he just had this like really, really high drop back volume for Winston last year. I don't know if we get that from Kafka here. So I hope we do, but it's kind of like it's a start to get Winston in there. It doesn't necessarily mean though that we're going to have like Winston on the Saints, remember? It wasn't fun at all.
No.
It really is about the play calling. And if you get the play calling and you get Winston chucking it, we can have a fun game environment. But it's not a guarantee just because Winston's in there.
Yeah, I'm with you on this too. Especially, no Darius Slayton either in this game.
Yep.
It's just down to Wandale. They signed Isaiah Hodgins. I saw you got Gunnar Olszewski.
Olszewski, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Ray McLeod.
I have a little bit of interest in Theo Johnson, just a little bit with it, just the
Yeah.
moving targets, because it's gonna be concentrated. Like he's gonna throw to Wandale, he's gonna throw to Theo Johnson. So I don't have a problem with Theo Johnson because that's where the Packers have been a little vulnerable is the tight end stuff. Tight ends have 26.8% of the receptions against Green Bay. That's the fourth highest rate in the league. So at least he can get the ball a little bit. And we know he has some touchdown equity too if they do get down there. He's been hyper involved in the red zone. So I do have mild interest there, but I'm with you on Jameis. It's not a week I want to chase. I mean, it sounds like we're like, oh, you don't like fun. Like I feel like more people just want Winston sound bites than they care about him playing.
I mean, the sound bites are great.
Yeah,
he's having a blast.
He's living his best life, man. He's an NFL quarterback. He's making millions of dollars. Just his life is good.
I hope. Look, I want nothing more than for him to succeed in this game and start for someone next year, because this quarterback class, this incoming rookie class, sucks. Not only do the prospects not look good,
spend a lot of time with it.
It's not good. It's like one of those classes where I have like major question marks about the guys who are eligible to come out, and they're all probably not coming out.
There's no reason. They didn't create a reason to come out.
They couldn't clear the like you should come out bar. The top quarterback in the class is like it was Dante Moore for a second, and now he's probably going back. Ty Simpson is like a 1-year starter out of Alabama.
He's the dude that's gotten all the steam.
He's gotten steam, and then Fernando Mendoza has gotten the steam too. It's like but neither of them is like a lock to come out. So, and they might be looking at each other like, if you don't come out, I will. Because then I'm going to be a top 5 pick. But if we both come out, we might not be top 5 picks. I don't know.
I don't get to watch a lot of college until we get after the season and go back and revisit like these guys. So
I'm not watching
I've seen very loose.
Yeah, I've just been trying to pay attention to like Lenore Sellers was supposed to be one of these guys who was going to be, but I think he's going to go back, maybe even transfer. So anyway, I think Mac Jones, should be clamoring for a trade because I think he's signed next year.
They were smart, savvy 2-year deal on that.
Yeah, got to get out of that, Mac. You can start in 2026 if you can get them to trade you. And Winston, I think Winston could start somewhere. But anyway,
yeah.
It's a show
but not here. I mean, like I said, this is a style of defense I think gives Jameis like issues as well, like because they can rush the passer without blitzing. Like I said, the whole Green Bay thing is to get you off your first read, hold the football, let the pass rush get there.
Yep,
and that's like all stuff that like Jameis is bad at.
They don't blitz, lowest blitz per drop back in the league. Good in coverage. They're second in coverage grade. I actually dug into the Seattle defense, and it profiles a little similar to Pittsburgh or to Green Bay in this way. But it's basically like it's hard to actually throw quickly against the Packers because they cover well, and they don't blitz. And so it's just like it's a really difficult matchup. And I don't love Winston here. Kind of like Packers, to roll. I think the Packers are going to have a lot of success this week, and LaFleur's going to be asking for apologies at the podium.
It's just how spoiled. I mean, the Packers have been just an abundance of riches for like the last 30 years.
I know. It's the Packers and Patriots now. They're just like, great.
Yeah.
You got another one. Bears at Vikings. I'll throw this over to you. Start with either side.
Yeah, I mean, we can start with Jonathan James. He's gonna be called by his government until he earns to be called JJ.
He's Jonathan James.
So Jonathan James, I know we made the soft pitch for him last week a little bit, and the opportunity was there.
I made a pitch. It wasn't soft. I pitched.
To be fair, I mean, Kevin O'Connell did not try to hide him. He just didn't play good.
Yeah, no, that's true. That was my big silver lining from last week is that they had a 78% pass rate.
I mean, he was the biggest thing was he was really bad throwing to the guys we care about. He was 7 of 23 for 72 yards and 2 interceptions, throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. The rest was pretty good. The rest actually
Jalen
looked
Naylor,
all
man. If you played
right.
Jalen Naylor last week.
Now, now the offense revolves around these two guys, but I do think
Yeah,
this is a spot to kind of go back to him. And as bad as he still was okay in terms of accruing fantasy points, and he's largely been okay at accruing fantasy points in 3 of his 4 starts. This is the softest matchup he's going to have since he faced these guys in week 1. We didn't really know what they had, and this is a worse pass defense than it was then, even in week 1.
it
So,
is. Yeah, because they've
you
had
know,
injuries.
yeah, I mean, the Bears are 30th in passing points allowed per attempt. They're 31st in touchdown rate. They've also allowed the most rushing yards to quarterbacks. So I do think, as bad as it went last week, there's still spot reasons objectively to kind of go back to Jonathan James and give him another look. I'm really excited for the pass catchers here, though, particularly the 2 wide receivers we talked about. If they can get effective targets, target issue hasn't been the issue for Justin Jefferson. 35%, 29%, 39%, 29% targets in JJ McCarthy starts. The problem is 24% of them have been inaccurate targets. With Carson Wentz, it was 12% for some perspective. And some context for his career, only 12.9% of his career targets have been inaccurate, and his highest inaccurate target rate was 15% in a season. So this is a significant jump, still a small sample. But I don't know if you
No,
remember
it's
this.
it's not a small. The dude, he fires every ball a million miles an hour. He's got no touch. It's like even the accurate targets kind of suck because they're just like too fast. It's like, dude, just like
The Kaepernick gene.
it's Kaepernick. He's Kaepernick. Honestly, I'm sorry, Vikings fans. It reminds me of Trey Lance. That's who it reminds
Yeah,
me of.
yeah, little Trey Lance tendencies.
Little Trey Lancey. I don't love what I'm seeing. I don't love what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
I
you
do
can't.
I do agree though that like last week I was like boosting the projection. I was like, give me some McCarthy. Make sure I get some McCarthy stacks. Um, I'm ahead of the market here. This week, I'm not doing that. But if I get McCarthy, like if McCarthy's popping in stuff where with players that I like, he's making it work. I'm not going to overrule uh, the computers if they tell me to play McCarthy. That's kind of my mindset. I'm willing to go back to him, but I'm just not as enthusiastic about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, well, it's hard to be. Yeah, it's always tough when you have the beat and then you come back to it. But I think the receivers are going to be open at least. Like, well, first of all, statistically, the Bears are 28th in points allowed per game to wide receiver ones. They've allowed 16 receptions to wide receivers on throws 20 yards downfield. That's 31st. So big plays are here. And 2 weeks ago, I don't know if you remember this, Jaquan Brisker called that, like, basically like was dunking on Justin Jefferson, was telling a story how he made Justin Jefferson cry on the field. And like, why would you do this like 3 weeks before you face him? Like,
That's not a good idea. Don't do that.
yeah. So I am interested in like Addison and Jefferson to have upside here. Now, again, quality of target's always going to be in question until we have proof of concept that it won't be. But I do think that's a very winnable matchup for those 2 wide receivers. It's why we chased like Slayton last week, and Slayton was on his way to a good game until he had that hamstring injury. The Bears are just a big vulnerable target on these downfield throws. That's why T. Higgins went off the week before that. Like, and that's where these guys can win. So, but hopefully, I hope that they're just so open that McCarthy can hit those throws.
Well, they might be. So Jalen Johnson's on IR. I think they just opened up his practice
Yeah, they
window,
just
but he
started
won't
his
be back.
window.
Yeah. Kyler Gordon, nickelback, also on injured reserve. And then they've got Tyreek Stevenson, starting corner is healthy. But if you look at
Yeah,
yards allowed per coverage snap, he's the worst of 108 cornerbacks with 150 plus defensive snaps. So he's been, it's like, great. He's healthy. He's also the worst cornerback in the league, potentially. And then the reserve cornerbacks aren't very good. So the coverage here, like, just if McCarthy plays okay, like it could be a really, really nice game. And that's the beautiful thing. You're right. We can find these spots where like you don't actually need McCarthy to play awesome. He just can like be mediocre, and this matchup can elevate him. So
yeah, that's right.
it is a spot to kind of to be open minded again about McCarthy not being good, right, but just being not terrible. Um, and it's kind of interesting here where I think we could see kind of more of like a balanced game plan than last week, where we got that 78% pass rate and they were really getting pushed. That's one of the reasons I liked last week, is that I thought, like, honestly, it kind of all played out like I was hoping, except McCarthy was awful.
He was just bad. Yeah, he was
He was
just
just
bad.
really bad. The Ravens aren't a great defense right now, but they're not terrible. The Bears kind of are a terrible defense, especially with these injuries. And so this week, I think you're trading pass attempts for passing efficiency, hopefully. But trading passing attempts might not be the worst thing, because the Bears, they're not good against the run either. They've been kind of a little bit of a run funnel, actually, and they're not good against play action. The Vikings run a lot of play action, and so you could see the Vikings like operating in a way that they're just like a lot more comfortable, where they're not having to have McCarthy drop back constantly in obvious drop back situations, and instead are kind of doing more play action stuff, and probably looking a lot more like they want to look, like
Right.
kind of fitting more of their own identity. Which is all good for efficiency, and also like play action generally has been good for both Jefferson and Addison. Could help concentrate targets a little bit to the guys we care about. So it is really a pretty good setup for. I'm definitely scarred, but it's a good setup. It really is for the Vikings passing offense here. Aaron Jones
Yeah, just
had a
offense
lot.
in general.
Offense in general, yeah. Curious on your thoughts for Jones and Mason, because I came away like maybe a little bit more skeptical than I think maybe the rest of the industry is on Jones after last week, where he had 71% of the snaps, 50% of the carries. He had 64% route participation and a 15% target share. It was a pretty bullish data point, but is in that really kind of high pass rate environment. If we go back to where, like 2 weeks ago, he had 31% of the carries and Jordan Mason was at 34% when
We
they
got
were playing
hurt
from
too.
ahead against the Lions. Yeah, he
Well,
did get hurt. You're right.
in
Yeah.
the first half of that game, he was basically on the same usage. My question was coming into
Okay.
last week. So in the
Okay.
first half of that game, it was through him. Then
I guess I missed how strong that usage was to begin the game.
yeah, and then but my question
Okay.
coming into last week was, if they want to use him that way, are we still going to see a thing where Mason comes in at the goal line? And he
Mm-hmm.
didn't. So like I was like
Okay. All right.
that was like the card I was like waiting to be revealed. Like, well, they didn't like, all right, well, because like coaching staffs, you know how they operate. They're just like, well, we do have this big dude, we'll put him in. But Mason's been so bad. I think they just eventually like they've had to phase him out of the offense in general because he's been so bad. And I think that's just ultimately what ended up happening to Jordan Mason. It's, unfortunate, small sample guy that only has like a 2 down ability you trade for and extend magically isn't that good anymore. But it's just been a real rough run out for Jordan Mason since the start of the year, basically since the Bengals game. And it's just ineffective offense, where at least you know what you're getting out of Aaron Jones, what he offers in the pass game. So I do
I'm rescinding my
believe.
skepticism.
Well, only because like I said, if you go back to the first half of that game before the injury, like Aaron Jones was popping, they were running the offense through him, and then he hurt the shoulder. And but I was like waiting, I was like, all right, well, they might still use Mason inside the 5, and then he got the goal line carry last week, so I was like, okay, all right, this is like it might just be his backfield now.
That if it is his backfield, that opens up a way to play this offense that doesn't require you to be financially dependent on JJ McCarthy's success.
And you
Like,
have a
not
pivot
really.
point because McCarthy, I think, is tracking to be relatively popular this week, and just the way that salaries work out. So you
Mm.
also have leverage if you just like, I don't want to deal with any of this. I'm not going to deal with JJ McCarthy. You have a leverage point that's like inherently created right now because you can just play Aaron Jones if you want. And
Yeah.
you also
Yeah.
have leverage with Aaron Jones in a multitude of ways because he's a very similar archetype of a player to Jalen Warren, who's going to be really popular. And now I also prefer Jalen Warren against the Bengals. But again, it's just, a pivot point. He's cheaper. We have a couple other guys in that price range that people want to get to. So he does make a lot of sense this week for a multiple levels, a game theory levels, team environment levels, matchup levels. Like he kind of checks a number of boxes.
I'm sold. He'll be. I wasn't really that interested in him, but I like that take. Because it's a game environment where I'm a lot more interested in the Viking side. I have
Here I
real
pulled it.
questions about.
I pulled it because I had to go back to last week's worksheet. But in the first half of the Lions game, Aaron Jones played 77% of the snaps, 9
Mm,
touches, 89 yards. Jordan Mason played 25% of snaps, 3 touches, 2 yards.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'd missed that it was that strong. That changes my
And it
mind.
was like basically in line with what we had for the full game last week.
Yeah, 71
Yeah.
percent snaps last week, 50% of carries, 15% target share. So yeah, I mean it's pretty good.
And also like tried and true, like pretty good football player over his career. Like we've
Pretty
had
good
very
football
few
player.
lulls. We've had very few lulls like Aaron Jones.
No, I mean it's I think my brain's broken from the internet because I I heard that as LOLZ, like Pete's show
Oh yeah.
with
Oh
Rick.
yeah.
But you mean like the actual word?
Yeah. Like
Lol.
actual like a down period. Yeah. And we've been
Yeah, I
manipulated
should
as
probably read a
society.
book.
Yeah, I was just on a show and we do movie reviews and we did the new Frankenstein movie and it's like admittedly had never read one of the probably like most popular novels of all time, but like it was like yeah, no one in the fantasy industry reads books. I was like, oh, I'm fitting the narrative.
You're not beating the allegations.
Oh,
Um, Bears side, we have Caleb Williams has been pretty good over the last couple weeks. However,
when we
he had this
want when we're expecting him to be good, he's been good.
he's pretty predictable, right?
Yep.
Dallas, Bengals, Giants.
Yep.
He wasn't good. The problem with Williams though is that like he sucked against the Raiders. He wasn't that
Yeah.
good against the Commanders. He
No.
sucked against the Saints. He wasn't very good against the Ravens. Um, he wasn't very good against the Vikings in Week 1. So I'm kind of nervous about Williams here.
He actually wasn't very good last Sunday either.
He honestly wasn't. And the
There was
numbers.
the Bears had some drops, but also I think he had 6 drops, which also hurt him. He threw some.
He
He
kind
had
of did
some
the
nice
Knicks thing where
plays.
he was like good at the end.
Yeah, he had some nice plays too, but like they were kind of misleading. Like because he had that one throw to Zacchaeus that was an awesome throw on the run, but like he also didn't need to be on the run at all. Like if he just he could have made that throw on his drop. And like I don't understand why he didn't. And then like everyone's like, "Oh, look at the play he made." And I'm like, "Well, why didn't he just make the play like in the structure of the offense?"
Because that's not what he does.
That's exactly it, man. And he's facing a team that can pressure him, and like that's where his like one big fault is like if you can make this dude skittish, it's a problem.
So I went and I looked at because the Vikings blitz, obviously they blitz a
Yep.
ton. And so I went and I was looking at quarterbacks this year who've been really successful against the blitz. Lamar Jackson, great against the blitz. On non-blitz dropbacks, he has 3.29 seconds per throw, which is pretty long. On blitz dropbacks, he speeds up down to 2.71, way faster against the blitz. Patrick Mahomes drops from 2.91 seconds on non-blitz dropbacks to 2.61. He has the second highest success. Mahomes has the highest against the blitz, and Jackson is second highest success rate against the blitz this year. If you look at other quarterbacks with high success rates, most of them have the same dynamic. Matthew Stafford drops from 2.79 to 2.45. Goff 2.71 to 2.43. May 3.20 to 2.88. Look at Caleb Williams. He is dropping from 3.44. He now has by far the lowest or the highest time to throw overall. And on non-blitz dropbacks, he's at 3.44 seconds. He drops. He's still at 3.14, which is really long to be holding the ball against the blitz. Only Tyrod Taylor at 3.25 is taking longer against the blitz. So we're seeing the same dynamic where he speeds up against the blitz, but he's still like holding the ball an extraordinarily long time when you're facing extra defenders. It creates real downside risk for him in this matchup, I think. And just kind of it accentuates his existing issues, right? Or existing play style where it's like very boom bust. He's trying to make plays downfield and not getting the ball out in rhythm consistently. He's this low success rate quarterback. His efficiency is better than you would expect given his success rate, which is pretty poor. And this matchup just makes all of that, more pertinent. So I'm a little bit nervous about Williams here. I'm also nervous about the volume. The Vikings are a big run funnel because teams don't want to deal with the blitz. They're passing just 55% of the time against Minnesota. They have a 5%. Opponents have a minus 5% PROE with a 3% shift to the run. We know Ben Johnson wants to run the ball. They had to pass a ton last week, but they were trailing throughout the game. They were trailing 17-7 in the early third quarter, 20-10 in the early fourth. So he kind of let Caleb Williams do Caleb Williams stuff, but I don't think that's his preference. And I think they'll probably come out here and try to establish the run to start the game. So, then if that doesn't work, you might have Williams trailing and in obvious dropback situations against Brian Flores. It all just kind of sets up to make me a bit nervous. Honestly, it makes me your Aaron Jones call is looking better and better the more I talk about the Bears side. So that's kind of where I'm at against the Bears. And then I think Rome Odunze is set up fairly poorly here because the Vikings double cover at a high rate. They double covered Odunze in 34% of his routes in week 1. He was just 0.9 yards per route run. And that's before it became extremely obvious that what you do with the Bears is try to take Odunze away. That's not going to be lost on Brian Flores. I think he's going to face a ton of double coverage again this week.
Yeah, I mean, 4 of the teams Caleb's faced out of the bye have been in the bottom of 10 of pressure rate. That's like you look at it. When pressured, he's completed just 40% of his passes, which is 29th. 5.2 yards per pass attempt, which is 25th. He's 21st in touchdown rate. And then without pressure, he leads the league in inaccurate, or with pressure, leads league in an accurate throw rate. And that's like the story of the Vikings defense. Like when they get pressure on the opposing quarterback, they only allow 55.9% completion rate and 6.3 yards per attempt. Brian Flores in the first matchup with these teams, he played pretty passive to open, and then just got in the second half, got in his bag. In the first half of that game, he only blitzed Caleb on 20% of the dropbacks. And Caleb was really good in the first half of that game. He actually completed his first 10 passes of that game and was 13 of 16 at the half. Then Flores blitzed him 44% of the time in the second half. And then he was 4 of 11 when he was blitzed in that game, 3 yards per pass attempt. 23% of his throws ended up being inaccurate. It was the highest rate for any passer in week 1. And the whole second half entirety was 8 of 19. He did scramble a lot in that game. So you do have that out for you in terms of creating a floor, but that's how I'm handling him. I'm handling him as a volatile QB2 this week.
Yeah.
And if you get some rushing and you end up getting some stuff that kind of sucks out, like Justin Fields last night had an okay fantasy game. And now Caleb's going to throw for more yards than Justin Fields did last night. But that's the type of game where it's not going to be objectively good. You probably need a rushing touchdown or some rushing volume to kind of smooth out some inefficiencies passing and some really down to down volatility here.
Yeah. And I could see them struggling to sustain drives unless they really get the run game going, which they could. DeAndre Swift has played well this year. He had control of the backfield again last week, 62% of the snaps, 46% of the carries. And he's been good. He has a 43% success rate, which is running back 15. He's got some juice. He's been efficient as a receiver with 1.41 yards per route run. So
the Vikings have been pretty good of late. They got Van Ginkel back.
They've been better,
They got another linebacker.
They're kind of middling.
Yeah. But the recent sample, they did a good job against Derrick Henry last week. Gibbs the week before that, they obviously had him in hell.
Yeah.
And then they have the Vidal game mixed in, and then the week before that they shut down Saquon. So they do have the last month, it's 3 out of 4, and the 3 that they've shut down have been pretty good running backs. At least we would consider good running backs. So
they're a team people are running bullish, on.
Though.
What did you say?
They could there could be success here, but I think it's hard to be overly bullish.
I agree.
Compared to recent games where it's dude, they're facing the Giants, they're facing the Bengals.
Swift is more of a season long play where it's I have him as an RB2. I think he's fine. And also I'm thinking about Swift as I think through how this game can play out. When I'm playing Vikings stuff, how competitive are the Bears? And I think Swift can help there. But
I don't think you really need him to be that competitive, though. I don't think this is a game you have to say it has to hit from a game environment stance. I think
because McCarthy's cheap and we get the targets going to the right guys.
Right. Yeah. Because Jefferson could be good on 8 targets. Like Addison could definitely be good on 8 targets.
I'd prefer
Like,
13, please.
sure, I would love 18 targets. Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm applying a tax. I'm applying the inaccurate tax.
yeah, I'm applying
Give me
the
8 real
Juwan
targets.
Brisker tax is what I'm
But I
applying.
need 13 to get 8 real targets.
Yeah, no, yeah. The Jonathan James tax, yeah.
The Jonathan James tax.
Sounds like
He
something
sounds
that like would have happened in like the 1700s. Like
it
the
sounds
Jonathan James tax.
like, yeah.
Like,
Is that what the Boston Tea Party was about? Jonathan
yeah.
James inaccurate targets? Is that what they're protesting? That tax?
Listen, if he wants you to start calling him JJ, he's got to earn it.
No taxation without representation, Jonathan James.
I think we're pretty locked up here. I think in this one.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's go to the next game. Is the Buccaneers at the Bills? I have lots of. I have like a Packers. I think what happened is I'm mad about the Packers being overly conservative, like everyone else, but they're actually in a spot where it'll work this week. So now I'm just taking that anger and applying it to my existing anger with the Bills for being overly conservative. So they're getting double that anger double dip because I'm mad about two teams being overly conservative. But man, the Bills, they're overly conservative and they're playing an elite run defense that really shut down the Patriots run game last week, like in a big way, except for 2 runs where Travion Henderson took it to
Adrian
the house.
Henderson averaged negative yards before contact in that game.
They had
Yeah,
a horrible success rate last week. I think it was in the 23% rushing success rate last week. The Buccaneers increased their rushing success rate against. Like they're number 1. They have the best. Opponents have the lowest success rate against them on the ground. So, and then if you look at the Patriots last week, meaning week 10, they had a 63% pass rate on just a 56% expected pass rate. They passed 17% over expected on first down. They were staying ahead of the sticks with the passing game. You don't just like pound the rock, like to consistently move the chains against the Bucs. Like you can use the run game as an explosive element, which would make a lot of sense for the Bills too, because they have James Cook, who's awesome and super explosive. But if you come in here and you just like lean on the run game and try to play power football against the Bucs, it's not going to work that great. You have Josh Allen, it would make a lot more sense to pivot and really play aggressively and then, force the Bucs to have to pass against your defense, which is actually pretty good against the pass, but not good at all against the run. But I just don't think the Bills do that, man. I think the Bills are going to run the ball and they're going to play this stupid power football thing they're doing that doesn't prioritize Josh Allen, who's arguably the best quarterback in the game. I don't get it.
Yeah, and it's hurt Josh Allen too. I mean, since week 5, he's the QB 11 in expected points per game. And like usually you'd be happy, you'd be like, oh, QB 11, that's good. But like
Not for Allen.
For the context he's created and the bar he's raised.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm worried about in this game, and it's crazy to say, but like Dalton Kincaid feels pretty significant in this matchup.
Significant.
The Bills have 300-yard receiving games this year. 2 of them are by Kincaid. He also the Bucs, where you want to attack them is in the play action pass game. He's been by far their best guy in the play action pass game. So it's like the removal for him matters for this matchup. And then the last time Kincaid missed, Allen only completed 57% of his passes, under 7 yards to pass attempt through 2 interceptions. All 5 of his interceptions this year have come with Kincaid off the field. So like it's crazy, like but like he's been like their explosive guy. Like he's been their best wide receiver, and
he has 2.95 yards per route run.
Yeah,
he's at 24% targets per route run. He ranks tight end 1 in open score. So like he's everything about Kincaid's profile screams breakout season, except not to Joe Brady, who doesn't put him on the field for more than about half the snaps.
Yeah.
So
because they're so run heavy. Like
they're so run heavy, and they have 2 other tight ends that they like in the run game. But they like we shouldn't have to be like, oh, I know it's weird to say, but Dalton Kincaid is clearly their best playmaker. They just don't play him, which is dumb. It's not our fault. Like we should be able to just openly be like, yeah, Dalton Kincaid is Bill's best playmaker, and him being out hurts. But that, it hurts. And they go to Dawson Knox, who just has not been good. Dawson Knox picked up the slack last week, not Jackson Hall. Jackson Hall has basically had no increase in playing time. at least in the passing game, 29% route participation last week. Knox jumped up to 60%. So it'll be Knox out there, but Knox has a 1.05 yards per out run, 11% targets per out run. He could get in the end zone, but it's just a different play.
We saw Kincaid miss 3 games last year, and he was not relevant in any of those games, and he wasn't relevant in week 6. He'd have a touchdown in week 6, but like you said, like that's always in play.
That's it. Yeah,
like that's in play because he's not that kind of player. Like he's not going to absorb the routes that Kincaid was running because they're not the same player. We do this all the time with like, what is the phrase that used to be vacated targets? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like it's like there are like Dawson Knox doesn't get Dalton Cade's vacated targets. He doesn't do anything that Dalton Cade does.
It would be like touting Tucker Fisk if Rondé Gadsden went down.
Yeah, Conklin.
Yeah, Conklin. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have
back.
Well, same thing. Like we talked about, like we just talked about the Packers. Like we didn't even really like get like Musgrave was never going to be Tucker Kraft because he doesn't do that. Like those aren't things he does. Like
right.
So it's like so we can't expect Dawson Knox to just absorb that utilization that Kincaid had. That's not what he does.
Yeah, I think the guy who could absorb it is Khalil Shakir, who he was up to 84% route participation last week, which is the highest we've seen since back in week 1. He was at 87%, but like he's been kind of more in the 70s or even the 60s. So it was nice to see him up. And he's not the same exact type of player as Kincaid. He's a slot receiver though, and should in a somewhat similar location of targets, I guess. Also, Shakir, more importantly, is the other playmaker in the passing game, right? It's Kincaid and Shakir are the two guys who have had really any juice. And Kincaid has been underutilized, like pretty clearly. He has a 9% first read target rate. That trails Keon Coleman at 14%. 9% is like straight up bad. He does get used in the screen game. So they do look for him there. Those first read targets don't include screens. So that's
they run like a lot of that orbit stuff with him, like the backfield motion stuff.
Yeah, but he's a 4.3 ADOT, and it's just he's clearly being underutilized downfield, where like Keon Coleman's just not delivering much value. He's 1.31 yards per route run. Josh Palmer might be back for this game, which
it sounds like he will be.
Yeah, so he's been okay, but he hasn't run that many routes,
and he's missed a month. Like, what are we expecting?
And he's missed a month. Like, so it kind of Shakir, like if Allen, I mean it's Allen, so he can do it kind of however, but I would assume that Shakir has a pretty good game if Allen is strong here and they actually lean on him, which they should do. I guess the thing that's tough about this matchup is, in retrospect, if Allen has a really strong game and Shakir has a really strong game, it'll be like, yeah, it was a great spot. But I've gotten so frustrated with how they're attacking that I'm wondering if they'll even take advantage of it.
Yeah, the more I kind of like dug into this game, because on the surface it's like Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, this should be fun,
right?
Kind of like we thought with Drake May and Baker Mayfield last week, and it was just okay. And that's kind of how I came out. Like the more I went in on this game, the more I felt like this is probably just okay. This game is probably just like okay. Like
it's also in Buffalo, and there's a little bit of weather. There's gonna be some precipitation. It looks like.
And the Bucs have also been. We didn't get to them yet. Like they've been pretty bad on offense.
They have been pretty bad. And dude, so Bucky Irving, I was really excited to write up.
Right.
But I can't write him up because he's out.
Well, you can still. You're legally
I can still
allowed
write him up.
You can write him up. You could dream. Someone listen. Someplace in the multiverse will like he's playing. He's playing somewhere. Not in this one, but maybe Earth 616 or something. He's there, man.
I texted Rotopat and Denny and Kyle to ask them, because I really wanted to have him as the cover boy, and I was like, "Do you guys think he plays?" And then they were making fun of me on the podcast because they're like, "So Kerrane, I guess, is down like super bad. Like he just needs Bucky Irving to play like more than anything this week." But yeah, I really wanted him to play. He's not playing. No, the Bills rank 30th in rushing DVOA, 30th in EPA allowed per rush, 23rd in rushing success rate. They're a straight up bad run defense. The Bucs, as much as we think like, oh, Baker Mayfield kind of, and this is true, like he's put the team on his back multiple times, but they have a 63% pass rate. That's just above league average. and they have a -1% PROE, so just a little bit, below expected. So their pass rates, which have ballooned at times, have mostly been due to game script. So this is, again, like, what do the Bills do? How do they approach this? Do these teams actually push each other the way we're hoping, or is this a game where the Bucks actually attack on the ground and the Bills attack on the ground more than they should and aren't as efficient? And they have Kincaid out, so they have issues in the passing game being as dominant. There's 15 to 20-mile-an-hour winds with 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and that hurts the passing game. And so we just have a game that's actually a little bit less exciting, fewer fireworks than you might assume when you first look into the matchup. I could see the Bucks probably leaning on Sean Tucker a little bit more here. He was at 43% of carries last week to Rachaad White's 48%, and just seems to have way more juice as a runner. Rachaad White is not adding much. So
shocking that Rachaad White continued to look like Rachaad White.
He has not looked good, man. But he'll have a passing game role. So Tucker's not someone I'm really looking to play.
Right. That's the problem, because like he's gotten like some steam too this week because of the matchup. But it's like he's not going to run any routes, and he's a road underdog. Like, I get it. The Bills like have a lousy run defense, but like his path to like actually turn in like something tournament worthy. Like you can probably flex him if you're needy and like just hope he gets.
That's what it is to me. He's like RB4 dart throw, but he's 5,000 on draft.
That's the problem. If he was,
I don't think you can do that.
Well, we just talked about Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is only 300 more than him.
Yeah, you play Aaron Jones,
right? That's the problem.
I mean,
like I ultimately
you got to pay 700 more for Chase Brown.
Yeah,
like no way. I mean, and Tucker could get in the end zone. Maybe he scores twice. Like it's not. Well,
insane, he has to, but for DFS.
He has to. But he'd have to be like 4K before I'd be really thinking about it.
And like I said, if this game was in Tampa, but like road underdog in Buffalo on a team that hasn't run the ball effectively, like it's just a tough sell, right? Like objectively.
Totally.
Like it's like, and that's the problem. Like he has negative receiving yards this year. Like actually not, but like below 0. We technically have more receiving yards than an NFL running back. We could say this.
We can start saying that to people.
Yeah.
They'll take us seriously.
And when you look at the Bills, like they're big, like they're lousy in like all the top-down metrics against the run. But the thing is like the spike weeks they've allowed in fantasy football have actually been pretty sparse. And pretty like easy to like identify, like the 2 weeks to Achane, the Bijan Robinson, Derrick Henry. Other than that, like they've only allowed 300-yard rushing games. And all those guys had a bunch of receptions outside of Derrick Henry. And it's like, so we have a 50-50 split, a guy that has to get a touchdown and he's not getting any of the receptions. It's just like, once you start breaking it down,
it's like, so you're seeing fantasy points drain into like a thing that we can't use, right? Like that's correct. That's why this matchup is like a little disappointing, because like I can identify where the fantasy points will go, but not like to who. And maybe there's just not that many fantasy points because the running game isn't so great, but I do think the Bucks will run the ball a decent amount here. And so, it's like, if you had Bucky Irving, who's actually really good and, and he was healthy enough to have all the work, like if he had just not been hurt, and we had a healthy Bucky here, he would be a smash. But with the split backfield and both guys being less efficient than Bucky, and not versatile in Sean Tucker's case, it's just tough. So I mean, Emeka Egbuka is looking. I have him as a wide receiver 1 here. I'm not super interested in him for DFS purposes, but I guess I could see it as a bet on this game environment. He's 7,200, so he's pretty expensive. But I'm more like happy to plug him in season long is kind of how I'm viewing him.
He said some of the efficiency drop with the offensive, just top down drop. I mean, the Bucks, the since week 6 are 23rd in points per drive. He's only caught 13 of 34 targets the past 3 games. I will say that
he was banged up though.
Yeah, this does flip though. He's also faced a lot of like man heavy teams, which we've talked ad nauseum about, like his splits versus man and zone. And the holy war of his separation stuff. But he is a guy that is still averaging 2.6 yards per out run against zone coverage, and he's going to get the ball a lot by default. Like he's now been targeted 30% of his routes without Chris Godwin and Mike Evans on the field, which still will continue this week. So the volumes there. Bills also pretty bad against wide receiver ones all year. They're 31st in points allowed, and especially like 5 straight games now they've been cooked. Waddle had 5 for 84 and a touchdown, and they called off the passing game in that game last week. Rashee Rice had 80 yards and it was a rushing score, so you can asterisk that one with the week for that. Tet McMillan
also, like one of them was like a 4th down chuck. We were sweating Rashee Rice and
well, the Chiefs had a terrible.
But...
Well, we'll get to the Chiefs. They had a terrible game plan against the Bills.
Yeah.
But Ted McMillan the week before, 7 for 99. Drake London the week for that, 10 for 158. Stephon Diggs the week for that, 10 for 146. Like, I think the volumes here, there's volatility, obviously, but like I said, volume and the matchups, they'll do line up for them. Because you get a zone-based team that can't really run the ball effectively. They'll try, but it's just like, yeah. So, yeah, I'm more with you. Like, it's solid volume-based play.
Yes, solid volume-based play. Not sure he's great at 7,200 for tournaments, but not a ton of, like, as much as I'm not that excited about this game environment, or I wish I was more excited, is maybe a better way to put it. I think he's totally fine. The guy, and I'm not sure, this is more of an IKB type of play, but to go back to the Bills side, the one dude who I kind of am interested in for DFS, intrigued by, I don't know if I'll end up playing him or not, but James Cook, I still think, like, in the same way, like Travion Henderson runs for 2 long touchdowns against this defense. James Cook has been super, super explosive. He is running back 2 in rush yards over expected per game. He's averaging 25 rush yards over expected per game. He's running back 5 in breakaway yards per game, averaging 27 breakaway yards per game. 50% success rate is running back 2, behind only Kareem Hunt. So it's consistency and explosiveness. And this is a really tough matchup, but as I laid out, like, I do think the Bills just kind of attack the strength of the Bucs defense head on to an extent. I don't think they'll have like a 30% pass rate or something, but they might have 50, they might have 55, so he should have opportunity here, and he could pop some big runs. He is a little bit expensive at 7,300, so probably more of just like a, hey, don't overthink it, play James Cook week in season-long stuff, as opposed to like a gold star DFS play. But I do think like he's at least on the radar as someone who, like, people aren't going to play at all.
Oh, no. Yeah, Hilo brought him up too on the show that I do with him, and the style of backs that have had success against the Bucs are these guys that can have, several like carries that get stuck, but then can hit a big gain. Like Jahmyr Gibbs had a huge game against them. Henderson last week. The matchup against Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet played that game, but Kenneth Walker also had 220+ yard runs. Like, because the style of defense they play, like, aggressively in terms of like run blitzing. If you can get to the second level, you can create some big plays against them, and like that's Cook's MO as well.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the runs that Henderson had, one of the touchdown runs, he was hit in the backfield and bounces off the hit, and then it's like he bounced off so hard that he was like outside. He like, they bounced him to the outside. He's like, oh, okay. Then he ran for a touchdown. So it's kind of a little bit of a boom bust defensive style against the run, which is nice if you're a boom bust runner.
Right. And Cook's actually not that. It's just, I meant like in terms of creating big plays. He's
like a boom. There's not a lot of bust, but he's a boom runner. All right. What do we got? Let's go to anything else on this game before we move on.
Nah, there's not much here.
Chargers at Jaguars is the next one I've got. Anything you want to start with here?
I'm very interested to see if this is a Chargers passing game, right? Like, because you would think everything points to it, but do they
not
continue?
Everything.
Well, not everything, yeah, but yeah, because they open the year being real aggressive, and like they've kind of like, when they're having successful running the ball recently, they will swerve into that. And with Joe out, like, they've reduced the depth of target to circumvent, like, to mitigate pressure, quicker passing, mitigate pressure. You can't go downfield as much. But like the Jaguars are a team we've talked about for a couple weeks now. Like, they're just a pass funnel. I mean, they face 38 pass attempts per game. They face the second highest pass rate in the league. It's like one of the things. It's like, well, that got us to Davis Mills a little bit. It's like it's one thing like when you look
Thank
at
you
like
for
there's
saying us. That's nice of you.
well, we're a unit. This is a collective. This is a collective show here.
Hopefully, the us includes the
It's
listeners. But
transitive property. You were on it.
yeah,
It was on this show. It's on your channel.
yeah.
So it's like,
Okay, I'll take credit for that.
but the Jaguars also like they can't get to the quarterback. Like his defense, the pass defense is reeling. They're last in the NFL in sack rate the past 5 weeks, and they've resorted to getting like really aggressive blitz happy tactics. Like over the past 5 weeks, they're third in blitz rate, but they only have a 16th. They're 16th in pressure rate on blitzes. So they're getting desperate and it's not working. And then over that span, they are just getting smoked in the air. They've allowed a QB1 score in all 5 of those games. Every quarterback scored more than 20 fantasy points against them. And you're like, all right, cool. Like you gave up some points to Patrick Mahomes and Sam Darnold and Matthew Stafford. You're like, they've gotten some other defenses too. But then again, like I pitched you get 26 fantasy points to Geno Smith, then you get 28 fantasy points to Davis Mills. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's so
Well,
like
they've had a lot of turnovers early on, and I think
they're not.
Yeah, it hit a bad this is something I want to
It
do
did. Yep.
more next year because like this is probably something that
The
one
Bears are
defense will
doing this
probably do
too.
every
Like then I brought up the stat too, like on drives where they don't have turnovers, like what they're giving
drives
up.
you don't have turnovers or something like
Yeah.
that. It's an
Yeah, so I
interesting
have it since week 6. The Jaguars have forced a turnover on 4.7% of opponent drives. That's 30th in
okay.
the NFL. 30th. And
Yeah, the turnovers dry up, which is what I mean.
weeks 1
Turnovers
through
aren't
5, they were first, 25.5% of drives. They were getting a turnover 1 every 4 opponent drives.
And that's gonna really boost like the stuff that we write, like EPA, like that's gonna make you look really good if you're getting turnovers. That's a big EPA boost. Um, it's if you're on the 20-yard line, you've got a high expected points, and then you turn the ball over. That swings things a
And
lot.
it
It's
flipped
not
for him too.
sustainable.
Like they were a team that was like getting pressure and turnovers early, and it flipped, and like they've gone the opposite way on offense. They're getting sacked a ton and turning the ball
Yeah.
over.
Yeah. So I mean, that part of it's nice. The other thing is they're not a great pass rush. They're 19th in quick pressure rate, 18th in pressure rate. They're 20th in pass rush win rate. So um, this is like a decent spot for the Chargers, who the big issue is the offensive line. But here's the thing. The offensive line, like, it looks like a gigantic problem now that we have Joe Alt done for the year. Slater obviously lost before the year even started, but they've got Austin Deculus now is a full-time guy. Only if you look at pass protection grade among guys with 200 plus snaps, only Cleveland's KT Leviston has been lower in pass protection. Their guard Mekhi Becton ranks 67th of 74. Their center ranks 35 of 36. They've got Trey Pipkins as the other tackle, Zion Johnson as the other guard. They've been okay, but they're 54th and 51st in pass protection grade. And then you look at run blocking, they're also all really bad as run blockers. Johnson and Becton rank 46th and 69th. Deculus ranks 71st. Pipkins ranks 73rd. So yeah, and their center's dead last. So it's like they don't do anything. And that's like not always true. Like some guys, looking at the grades, you're like, oh, this guy's a really good run blocker. Like he gets downhill well, but like in pass protection, he's kind of a liability. That would be an improvement. These guys just aren't good at blocking, and they're professional blockers. So I'm nervous about the offensive line just really struggling. And the Jags are decent against the run. They're bad against the pass. So yeah, it's like we need Justin Herbert to kind of do that Baker Mayfield thing, put on the cape and just like deal with pressure, deal with getting sacked. We've seen Drake May do this a little bit, like Drake May against the Browns, where it's like, hey, like Myles Garrett's going to set like a franchise sack record against you. Can you still beat this team? When you're not getting sacked, you're awesome. Justin Herbert is that good. Like I really do believe in him. But I think that's what we're asking of Herbert here, I think a little bit.
And he's running a lot more. He actually already has a career high rushing yards. So we are getting a little bit of mobility from him as well. But yeah, it's just more of us just keep tacking this Jaguars passing game. It takes a little bit like a step of faith because, like I said, they've like Vidal has gotten some volume, but it's just been very volatile. Like it's like the roller coaster, right? Like he has 138 yards, then he goes to 35, he goes 127 yards, then he has 30, then last week goes 108 yards. It's just like, they're not consistent.
Who are you saying?
Vidal,
Vidal.
Okay. Because it hasn't been consistent. Like it's just been up and down. And to be fair, that's how Hampton was. Like Hampton was very it was inconsistent too. We were getting, and it might have gotten better and stabilized over the course of the season. But that just might be predicated on like your statements about the offensive line. Like they just might not be good enough on a regular basis to create that consistency. But this would be a spot where like they should throw.
Yes.
What's that?
Vidal's numbers look good. He's got a 42% success rate, which is solid. He's running back 7 in rush yards over expected per game, running back 14 in breakaway yards per game. So he's been pretty solid. And then he just had 81% of the team attempts against the Steelers, 93% of the snaps. So like if you told me that they had a solid offensive line, like okay, Vidal would look really good here. Just as like we can count on the volume. They're going to have success through the air. He's attached to a really strong passing offense. As is, I think he's kind of more like volume-based RB2 type of play.
And he does, and he's given some like outright duds. That's the tough part about him is like he hasn't had like a stable floor. It's just like boom or bust. Like he's getting you those 100 yards or you're getting an unusable game.
And this is a very like low floor matchup because again, the Jaguars are actually pretty good against the run. And
nobody's rushed for more than 63 yards in a game against them this year. A running back. McCaffrey's the only guy to hit 100 total yards, which of course, but
right.
If they do throw to him, which they really haven't a lot, that's where like the Jags have been vulnerable to running backs is in the passing game. But
that's not. He has a 5% target share. Right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Well, they just have too many good players to throw to versus him. Like if he was getting targets, we'd be mad. We'd be like,
right. Well, if I'm playing the Chargers, I think I play it through the passing game and I just take the leap of faith. And I want to play probably Rondé Gadsden, who gets me off of massive and deserved Trey McBride chalk. But, or maybe I play them together. And then Ladd McConkey, I think, is also pretty interesting here. McConkey, we were so bummed out by the early season stuff that I think, we maybe aren't as excited as we would have been. Like if he had started the season, 3.03 yards per out run, 1.18, 3.03, 1.7, 3.15. That's the last 5 games. That's pretty good, right? We'll take that. It's just that the open to the season was so rough. But I mean, you look at like the season long numbers now, it's like, yeah, McConkey's clearly the lead guy, and he's been efficient. Not as efficient as we'd like, but he's been all right. And so I like. I don't know. I'm kind of trying to talk myself into playing some Herbert stuff as a bet on him to overcome. Because if you're going to bet on the Chargers to overcome,
I'm just betting
it has
on
to be through the passing game, right?
I'm just betting against the Jaguars at this point. Like I said, that was like my pitch to you. Remember, that was like my whole pitch to you last week. I was like, I'm just going to keep betting against the Jaguars.
Well, it was an effective. It wasn't an effective pitch, unfortunately, but it was an effective thought. You were correct.
That's kind of just how I feel like, and that was against like, and obviously they have Nico Collins, a solid player, but like it's, you've got Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnston, Rondé Gadsden, Keenan Allen. Like I even feel stronger about it here.
Trying to play like last week was a little easier, right? Because you could play Davis Mills naked.
Yes.
You could play Davis Mills to Dalton Schultz.
Yeah.
You could double it with Nico. You could play it single to Nico. So what do you do this week with Herbert if you are playing him?
I think for me it would be Johnston or Gadsden, mostly because if you do McConkey, you run the risk of not being able to do anything with JSN or Jamar Chase. And like, you know what I mean? Like it's tough to like, I really want to play those guys. But
I like Puka too. We'll get to him.
Yeah. But Gadsden's like kind of the standout guy because like when I look at this slate in particular, Because if you have a good tight end, you're just always playing him in season long. That's just the way the position plays. But in like a DFS perspective, like who can combat Trey McBride on this slate? And probably no one. The answer probably is
No
no one.
one.
But Gadsden does have the layout, and like he's had some just like really immense spike weeks, like where in terms of
McBride's also a
receptions.
wide receiver this week to me.
What's that?
Like McBride's a wide receiver this week. Like if you're playing McBride,
Yeah.
like it could easily be a
But
two tight end
we
league.
know the field is playing a lot of McBride too, so it's like if we're
Sure.
gonna get
Yeah.
cute on any level, who do we not play in McBride? Like if we don't play him, if we make a lineup that doesn't have McBride in it, who's gonna be in it? And like Gadsden's the next
Gadsden's a good
name
candidate.
that
Yeah.
pops for me because the
Yeah.
Jaguars, that's where they're getting crushed is by these tight ends. Well, they're getting crushed by a lot of things, outside receivers, but yeah, they're like just all the passing
Inside
pieces.
receivers,
Particularly
running
tight
back,
ends are also
running
successful.
backs
So
have
like,
got-
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, if you have quality players to throw to against the Jaguars, they've been pretty good.
Yeah, okay. That seems good. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but yeah, I think about Gadsden from like the context of like, all right, if I'm making a lineup that doesn't McBride in it, who's the tight end going to be? And like, he's the first name that like I'm like excited to like be like, yeah, that guy.
If we're thinking through this matchup, where not because the Jags have a good pass rush, but because the offensive line is a disaster, we can expect pressure. So you can either play it like, all right, who's a guy who I can get quick targets out to, which would probably be Keenan Allen or McConkey.
But Keenan Allen's like hardly playing.
He's hardly playing because they play Trey Harris as like a run blocker and
Mhm.
stuff. So I'm not interested in playing Keenan Allen at 5,300. And then McConkey 65. I actually do have a little bit of interest in him, but
I mean, I do too. It's just my thing is like, what if he restricts me from paying for McConkey, restricts me from from a lineup building perspective. But I do have interest in the matchup and Herbert, obviously too. Because if you're just like, all right, I'm going to play a Herbert onslaught, where you're like, I'm going to do a Herbert double, and you're doing McConkey and Gadsden, like plus Herbert's salary, you're probably foregoing like a pretty probably key piece of this slate somewhere.
Yeah, the other, so if you can play it like the Chargers are just getting the ball out quickly to mitigate but if they're doing that, they might just run the ball. So it might be more that you're betting on them to be inconsistent. Pressure ruins drives. Herbert takes some sacks, but also he makes some big plays downfield. And that's, to me, Gadsden, where you go, he's cheap, he fills the tight end spot. I don't need the Chargers to like be lighting the world on fire. I just need them to like make some big plays downfield, I guess. Or Johnston, who you mentioned, he's in that same vein. He's 5,000, so that would be kind of if you're thinking through it that way, he becomes more interesting.
And I know like the initial thought with the injury was if the Chargers are forced to throw shorter, that hurts a guy like Quentin Johnson. We have seen him have two double-digit target games now. One with Alt being off the field on Sunday, and then him leaving the Giants game. That's when he had the initial injury. So like this is still a guy they want to involve in the offense. Like, I mean, he had 6 targets behind the line of scrimmage last week, which was a career high. Like, so like those are just like, they're saying like, we want this guy to touch the football still. And then
he's got a little bit of the yak stuff too.
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah. He's a big, fast dude, man. Like,
yeah.
I mean, listen, that Harbaugh likes him because he had that touchdown against Harbaugh in the TCU game where he caught like literally like a 5-yard pass and just like housed it.
Saved his career.
Yeah, like Harbaugh's like, I love that dude forever. Like he knew when he got that job. But yeah, but I mean, clearly though, like this is a guy they still value. There'll be volatility with a guy like Quentin Johnston because lads come on and like he's just a better receiver.
Yeah.
But this is still a guy like when this coaching staff wants to use in their offense.
Agreed. Jaguars,
and he's just like I said, he's just affordable. So
yeah, I think it's an interesting name to throw out there for sure, because he kind of fits the same like idea of Gadsden, where you don't need a ton of plays for him to pay off.
Yes, yeah.
So on the Jaguars side, Brian Thomas was limited, I believe, both Wednesday and Thursday. And do we have whether or not he practiced? That would change things a little bit if he can go. It looks like he was limited again, officially questionable. So that'd be nice if he played. If not, we're probably looking at Parker Washington again as kind of the number one. But Jacoby Myers was at 50% route participation last week, which honestly is like kind of good for him joining the team. Like Rashid Shaheed was in the 20s in a similar situation. So we could see Myers at like 65, 70% of routes, I would say, would be plausible. And so, yeah, I mean, he and Parker Washington will probably be kind of carrying the target load here. Johnny Munt filled in for Hunter Long last week. Doesn't matter. These guys are not at all getting involved the way Brenton Strange was. So it really is the wide receivers and potentially just
and
two
that
of
was
them.
always the biggest thing for Parker Washington was he was getting a double dip on the wide receiver injuries and the tight end injuries.
Yep. Is that slot receiver? Yeah. So yeah, any bullishness here on the Jaguar side?
Not much. Chargers pretty good pass defense. Trevor
Yeah.
Lawrence not a very good quarterback.
He really
That's
isn't.
that's the problem. He's in a lot of aspects too. I mean, he only has 3 top 12 scoring weeks this season. Both 2 of those came with multiple rushing touchdowns. So like you kind of have to have that run out for him. He's 29th in the league in rate of throws to go for a first down or touchdown. He's also one of the worst red zone quarterbacks, and that's consistent like for his career.
That's
Like
been for years.
yep,
Yeah.
he's been one of the worst red zone. He's the league's lowest rated passer in the red zone again this year. 31st in completion rate, 30th in touchdown rate.
He
And the
kind of takes
Chargers
chances he shouldn't take generally, but he does it in the red zone in ways. So some guys are like less risk
cautious. Yeah,
averse in
some
the
guys
red
are like
zone.
real risk
Yeah.
averse. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's not, which is not so great,
Yeah. And
actually.
the Chargers are allowing the fewest passing points per attempt in the league this year. So it's like just very they play, Jesse Minter plays a lot of that coverage, like we talked about with Jeff Hasley with the Packers. Like their whole thing is like, we don't want to give up big plays. We want to make you hold the football and make mistakes. That's like how they play defense. And the pass rush has been a little bit back too, with Mac coming back. And the Jaguars, like I said, they're not protecting the quarterback at all right now. The past 5 games, they're the worst sack differential in the league, -18. It's not great. It's not a field goal. So I think you continue to play the guys you've been playing in season long stuff like ETN's a nice solid volume based RB2.
I agree. I actually think ETN has some appeal.
If you get touchdowns, so the Chargers you can run on. The thing is that they face the league low running back attempts per game. So like if you could be in a script where you can get your running back the football, then you can exploit that.
Well, you could be in that script if the defense does anything against a horrible offensive line. So that it's possible,
Right.
Although again, you did just lose to Davis Mills.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're 25th in points per touch allowed to running backs, the Chargers, but they face the fewest running back touches per game, so it skews a little bit,
Yeah. ETN's been better than I have a ton of Bashal Tootin.
He's been solid.
It's definitely biased me against ETN, but he's been solid. Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna probably be a free agent though. Like I assume that he's just gonna hit the open market.
Well, I think it would probably be smart for them to like get a look at Tootin then and make sure they want to let ETN go.
And they might. They've still
maybe
been
in week 17. You could play him.
Yeah, they were super live. I guess they still are live technically, but like it feels like it's waning. Now, like for the playoffs and everything. So I think that's why. Like if they're knocked out of it, they might do some stuff, some jostling. But right now they're like still.
If they're knocked out of it, I'm not sure Trevor Lawrence is quarterbacking in Jacksonville next year.
Be interesting to see how everything plays out. If Cohen's just like, this guy can't work for me.
We just saw like with Dayball, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
Dayball gets in, they succeed, they make the playoffs, win a playoff game. Now he gets tied to Daniel Jones. He finally gets a quarterback who he actually wanted in Jackson Dart. Has him run into defenders constantly, and maybe not the brightest way, but he gets fired before he gets to see that through. Like if you're Liam Cohen, I think it would be totally reasonable to be like, nope, this isn't the dude that I want to tie my potentially one and only chance to be a head coach to. So I would not blame them at all.
They've made 3 offensive hires for him, and he's been the constant denominator of why
is
it's
Urban
not
Meyer an offensive hire?
But I mean, like, yeah,
he's an offensive hire.
He is he was a very offensive hire, for sure. But yeah, I mean, Lawrence has been the constant. Like it kind of just all keeps coming back to him. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and they gave him a contract, like not early in
Early,
terms of
yeah,
like, but like they were like open, like, yep, we know what we have.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Kyler Murray and Lawrence might be on new teams next year.
And yeah, and like we're in a new era too, where teams are willing to now kind of take on the sunk cost.
We're seeing quarterbacks get benched sooner. First round picks like Bryce Young, got I mean he's back now, but like we're seeing, Trey Lance. They never really. I mean, they found Purdy obviously, but like they're just like, nope, this didn't work. Anthony Richardson,
Well, that whole draft class, man.
yeah, but I mean,
I
like,
mean, Mac made the playoffs at the Patriots, and then they were like, you're not it.
I mean, to be fair, like if you can't succeed in a Matt Patricia offense, like you're not going to succeed anywhere. So dumb.
I know it's funny is that Mac Jones was objectively better than Lawrence last year. Not that he's particularly great with the Jaguars, but was better than Lawrence. And like,
Mac Jones got done dirty, man. I mean,
yeah,
it works out great for the Patriots. They got May out of it,
yeah,
but
and the
like,
Patriots got me. But again, like,
yeah.
yeah, this it feels though like we're at a real fulcrum point with a couple quarterbacks that even under contract, like teams are more willing to explore. Like Tua's kind of like right on the edge of that too, where it's just
Oh, I
like,
think he's more than on the edge.
yeah, or
I don't think he's I think he's like beyond those guys where like McDaniel probably gets fired at the end of the year. The new coach is not who's taking that and going, yeah, Tua, that's
well,
my guy.
who's taking that? How is the interview process for that going to be? Like, they're all going to say the same thing, right? They're going to be like, "Well, are you getting rid of this quarterback too?"
Right.
Like,
If you want anyone good, I think you need to have I want my guy. I want to be able to
he
bring
has
in my
scorched the
guy.
earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have Kyler, Tua, Trevor Lawrence, and these guys we're all given contracts, but
But like 10 years ago, it's like I do think it's like you have to save the court. Even like when the Jets moved on from Sam Darnold, it was like, oh, okay, that seems
mhm,
early. And they'd given him, I think like 3 years. So yeah, it feels like teams are in a way they're probably pretty sharp, where it's like you're at quarterback, kind of like anything else, but you're looking for stars.
yeah.
And I think teams have been probably a little bit too cautious where they're like, well, he's not
Well,
bad.
and so many of these GMs have such short life cycles, like that kind of
Right.
coincide where it's just like it gets flipped, the regime gets flipped, and
We're also seeing that like okay, you don't have the guy, but like someone else's guy who's not the guy might be your guy. Like Sam Darnold wasn't the guy, and then he gets in a different situation and he's so much better. Daniel Jones gets in a different situation, he's so much better. Like just a change of scenery, maybe like maybe there's an offense out there that actually really does work for Trevor Lawrence, and if he's on the trade market, someone can identify that or whatever, or Kyler Murray or it. But it's not working where they are right now, so I don't. I really wouldn't blame these teams for
yeah,
trying
and
something
the
else.
shift in the NFL right now, where the current defensive meta has forced more under center passing, and an increase of playing more balanced football, where it was like we went to like a spread era, and like it's made some of
Yeah.
those guys that have limitations better because if you put the infrastructure on those guys, you can hide them a little bit now too, and but it always like eventually gets exploited when you have to have those guys drop back in like a game where like the shit hits the fan, and like Darnold at the end of last year, like when it finally hit the fan, you're like, oh damn it, like here we go again. Like it probably will happen with Daniel Jones, to be honest. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of the reason they made the Gardner trade because they're like, we
mhm,
can't, we need the formula. That formula, I think, depends on, and the Colts formula is a little different than the Seahawks formula because the Colts formula is more about like the RPO stuff, and the Seahawks are more like play action shots. But it's similar in the sense that it's built around the run game, and then not ever having your quarterback in a ton of obvious drop
yeah.
back situations.
And that's why I don't think it's coincidence that we've seen some of these guys like have a renaissance going to those situations.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
And also like the
Because they
Russell
clearly
Wilson
had
stuff,
tools.
like
They clearly had the tools and stuff to be drafted where they were.
yeah. I think the thing that isn't working, like I think Ben Gretz has written about this, where like the low success rate guys are like really struggling now, like the boom bust. I mean, I think
Yes.
that's where Caleb's going to have to probably figure it
No,
out.
Caleb is in the the Trevor Lawrence like spectrum.
Trevor Lawrence, Bo Nix, like down to down, you're not sure what you're getting. Yeah, the guys who, I mean, the dudes like Allen, Mahomes, May now, like they're able to combine both. That's what makes those dudes so special.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think. Yeah, Lawrence is very much like, and you look like his success rate is in line with, it's not quite as bad as Russell Wilson's or Bo Nix's, but it is worse than Caleb's. It's worse than Kyler Murray's. Like he is kind of. It's worse than Justin Fields. It's worse than Geno Smith's. He really is in kind of that boom bust range. So yeah, kind of more like season long stuff here, not so much DFS. I guess you could talk me into Parker Washington if Brian Thomas is out. Any thoughts on him for DFS?
Yeah, if Thomas is out, I have no problem with it. And then, if Thomas is back, and then when we start to see Brenton Strange trickle back in here over these next couple of weeks, it's just going to turn into like a real quagmire.
Totally.
Because they added Jacoby Myers. Like that's going to be a weekly write up. I'm just going to be like, I don't know what to tell you. The quarterback's playing bad, and they've got like 5 dudes they throw the ball to. Like, what do you want? What do we do here?
What if Jacoby Myers is what unlocks Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah. I've
not
thought
Travis
about
Hunter, not Brian Thomas. Yeah,
man, dude. Like, yeah, okay. Just move on. Let's move on. I was gonna like start turning to like that trade and like what like the Ram, like it's all bad. Like it's.
My take before the draft, and I don't know if I ever put this. I probably did. I do talk on the internet a decent amount. It's probably on some podcasts, but my take was that like this wasn't an anti Travis Hunter take as a player, but I was like, this dude's getting someone fired because there's no correct way to go. Whatever happens, you will be judged for doing it wrong, right? Like if you play him 2 ways, and he gets hurt, you're an idiot. If you draft him and you only play him at cornerback, you're an idiot. If you only play him at wide receiver, you're an idiot. This guy's a 2-way player. You're wasting him, right? There's no correct, like this is like and then I was saying that when it's like you just sit there and take him, but they trade for him almost like he's a quarterback. And then they play him 2 ways and he gets hurt. Oh wow. What did you think was gonna happen?
What did you think by all accounts, Andrew Berry was gonna take him at the spot, but the offer was just so aggressive.
I mean, it's a pretty good offer. Yeah.
It was that they were just like on principle, we're taking this trade. Like on principle. Yeah. Like they're gonna draft the player. They're trading up the draft for the player we would have taken, but the offer on paper is just so aggressive. Like we're just gonna take this.
I get it. Yeah, so I mean,
Mason Graham's been incredible. Like you don't want to one-off him and just say like you don't want to one-off him and be like it's always gonna be a thing versus those two, but like you get the extra picks. And it to be fair, it hasn't done shit for the Browns because they're playing a dude that I'm pretty sure has never thrown a football before at quarterback. So
I'm pretty sure it wouldn't matter if they had Travis Hunter though.
No.
So it's like you're not trading, getting the better value made a ton of sense for them.
Somehow the Browns find a way to get a worse quarterback every year. You're like, it can't be worse than this guy, right? And I guess somehow.
Well, they're not playing Shedeur. How bad is Shedeur?
He's gonna be worse, right? Like it's literally just keeps getting. Dude, DTR. I thought DTR like you couldn't do like there'll never be another quarterback as bad as DTR. And Dylan Gabriel, man, like even last week, it's such a struggle. It's just such a struggle. There's there's like that account that does worst throws of the week, and they only show Dylan Gabriel throws.
There was an incredible, someone did like it's just this dry. And for the third worst throw of the week, another Dylan Gabriel throw.
And I feel bad for him because I feel like mentally Dylan Gabriel does get playing the quarterback position. It's just he has no attributes. Like he's like a stock NBC dude. Like he's just like he has no arm strength.
It's like creative player, but you like got distracted.
But it's through. It's like when you do the creative player before you do any of the sliders, and you just like
got his name.
You forgot, and then you started playing the game with him, and you're just like, oh yeah, he's a 50 in everything. Like like son of a bitch, like son of a bitch. Like damn it.
All right, let's get the Browns and Ravens taken care of, and then we'll go back to the 1 p.m. window. We're already down the rabbit hole here on the Browns. Dylan Gabriel, worst success rate in the league, and by like a lot in a league where JJ McCarthy is playing.
Jonathan
Cam
James.
Ward, Jonathan James. Sorry, yeah, hasn't earned JJ. You've got a matchup against the Ravens defense that isn't that great. They're healthier than they were earlier in the year, but not great. Pass rush is pretty weak, but you're also against the Ravens, who can put up points against the Browns defense and put Gabriel in a rough spot. I would compare this in some ways to when they played the Patriots, where it's like they're going to put up points against you, or maybe the Steelers, where it's like you're still a negative game script even with a really good defense. So that's just a tough spot for Gabriel to be in, even if the matchup isn't that great. Similar to McCarthy last week, right? Where it's like you're going to have to pass a lot against this defense. You also have Tommy Reese calling plays now, and he was pretty conservative. He had a -6% pass rate over expected against the Jets, -9% on 1st and 10. By the way, they just lost to the Jets. I know they were some couple special teams touchdowns. Yeah, but still. Get Dylan Gabriel against the Jets. Terrible defense, had an 11th percentile success rate. So, I mean, what else is there to say? It's all Quinshon Judkins here, and the Ravens' run defense isn't very good, but attached to a really weak passing game in a game environment where there could be a lot of negative game scripts. So he's pretty boom bust, I would say.
Yeah, and as good as the Browns have played defense, this happened to them last year a little bit too, where when you get to this point of the year too, like it's just so hard to like be this good of a defense that consistently in an NFL game. Like eventually, like good offenses are going to find ways to score on you, and like they hung around in the Patriots game for as long as they could, and eventually, like the Patriots finally won. When these two teams played earlier in the year, it was a pretty close game in the first half. They hung around as long as they could, but you can only get so many stops, even being like against an elite offense, right?
Yeah,
And like all the competent offenses they've faced outside of the Packers, and you had a nice little rant about them and why they're maddening. But like the Patriots got the 32 against the Browns, the Lions got the 34, the Ravens got the 41. Like these good offenses are going to find a way even against the best defenses. And when you're not getting any offensive support, like you eventually break. And that's just like this in a nutshell. Like that's just like this could be a game where the Browns actually open up, and it is a fist fight early. And eventually the Ravens break through and puts the Browns in a spot where they have to drop back and throw, and like it's a house of cards.
Yeah, the Packers stuff. One of the reasons that I find them frustrating is because there is actually like a way to attack the Browns, and it's not the way the Packers attack. They had a -5% pass rate of expected,
They're going to do what they
-3
do
on 1st and 10. They did what they did, and these teams that do what they do when the matchup clearly calls for something else, I think I tend to find the most frustrating.
Yes.
But I don't
because
think
we know this stuff, and it's a $1 million operations.
Yeah,
like if we're on a podcast talking about it. Like they've got dudes and they're investing money to tell them this stuff.
If you need us to tell you, I mean, it's on YouTube. It's free. You don't even gotta. I mean, maybe.
And I don't think I'm smarter than any of these guys. I definitely don't. It's just like we have access to the information. Like why aren't you utilizing it?
We'll give this to you for free. Don't run on the Browns. They're number 1 in rushing DVOA, number 2 in EPA, number 2 in success rate. But the teams that have had success against them have been going with more of a pass heavy approach.
And they
Carson Wentz
in the first matchup.
put up points against the Browns. 70% pass rate, 5% pass rate of expected. Kevin O'Connell, smart guy, knows how to attack the Browns. I think the Patriots only passed 57% of the time, but they had a 3% pass rate over expected. The Ravens, 67% pass rate in that first matchup, 10% over expected. That's clearly the way to go. It takes a little courage, takes a little faith in your passing game.
And you're going to have negative plays, like you say. Like Myles Garrett's going to get you. He's going to get you, man. Like you live with it. And their defense is good, but that's how you get. But the Browns are never going to stop too defensively what they do. Like they're aggressive. They're going to play man coverage. and they're going to give up shot. That
going to give
opens
up
up the
plays. They're going to
window
give
to
up
give up
explosive
shot
plays.
plays.
Yeah, they're 21st in preventing explosive plays. That's what you got to do. You got to take them on head on in the pass game, because the run games, the run defense is just so good, and you're also, I mean, you have to think about the other side of it too, right? Like, they have Dylan Gabriel at quarterback. Like, how do you lose to Joe Flacco with the Browns when he was terrible, and then he's been awesome since joining the Bengals? But whatever. How do you lose to these teams that can't really put up points? It's because you didn't put up that many
It's
points,
because
right?
you didn't score points. Yes.
Yeah, you got to score points. Like, it's not that complicated.
Right.
But yeah, I think the Ravens. I trust the Ravens. I think the Ravens attack the right way here. We already did, right? They already had a 67% pass rate, 10% above expected.
Yeah, they opened that game a little bit trying to run, and then they quickly abandoned it. Yeah.
And Lamar Jackson, 73rd percentile mark in EPA per play, 45th percentile mark in success rate. Not super consistent down to down because it's a good defense, but get the big plays. That's
And he's
what Lamar
found a
Jackson
way
does.
in these games. He actually, like, Jim Schwartz has done a pretty good job. If you look at the matchups and these teams have played, it's just Lamar still finds a way to get through, because you can only you can only play a perfect game for so long against a talent like this, and like they're going to find a way. And he scored over 20 fantasy points in 3 straight games against them. So he just finds a way to get there.
Zay Flowers is kind of interesting here, I think. He's been good against man, 28% targets per out run, 2.66 yards per out run. He's also just been really good overall, 2.39 yards per out run this year. Rashad Bateman is hurt, ankle injury, hasn't practiced on Wednesday or Thursday. So we could see targets consolidate a little bit to
Darius
Flowers.
said he's not playing.
Okay. So, and then, Andrews and Likely are splitting. Not a ton of interest in them, but you're betting on some big plays. Andrews could certainly score a touchdown. That's kind of the way you're playing Andrews. If you're playing Andrews, you're kind of betting on touchdown, but he scores them, so it can work. But Flowers kind of jumps out as an interesting play here to me. Not necessarily from a DFS perspective, although I have entertained the idea of maybe being a little contrarian to the projections here, boosting the Ravens passing game a little bit, because I think they can overcome this matchup and have some big plays. Lamar's only 6,900, and I'm kind of more interested in him than I am in Allen, who's 7,000.
Yes,
they're not going to get pushed,
too.
but yeah, he could have some big plays here.
Yeah, that's what makes this slate so interesting, is we do have Allen and Jackson in spots where I think the field is saying, like, neither one of these guys are going to be like a scorer that, like, we can't get to. And I think it's what makes the slate interesting, because we know they're capable of it. Like,
sure.
but it feels like no one's really going to play either guy, like, aggressively. And, because everyone wants to play other, either get to CMC still, obviously Jamar Chase against the Steelers again. Like, you're like, people are going to play a dude that had 23 targets against the team. They're going to find a way to get that dude.
Also, McBride is the clear chalk at tight end, so you're not saving money there.
I think it's going to be a big mid-range quarterback week, is the way people want to play it. So Lamar actually comes out to be kind of like a contrarian play in a roundabout way
for sure
this week.
Which just he's not going to project that well, because he's in a tough matchup, and we don't expect the game environment to be that great because the Browns stink.
Yeah, and Flowers is always my problem whenever he comes, because I actually like him in this matchup a lot too. I mean, his past 2 games against the Browns too, because he's so good against man coverage. He has 12 targets and 11 targets. Mm-hmm. I like that. The problem is they don't throw to this dude in the red zone. That's what always kills me from ever like glomming onto him in DFS. He's the wide receiver 4 in target share outside the red zone. He has 30% of the team targets. Once they cross that 20, it's like a force field. He is a 16%. He's the wide receiver 40 in red zone target tree. He has 1 end zone target this year. And like, this is steady over his career. Like, this is where Mark Andrews does. Mark Andrews is the inverse. They ain't throwing to this dude. They ain't throwing to this dude until they get down there. That's always
it's weird too, because Andrews gets like 2-yard targets, for touchdowns.
It's a bummer, because like Zay Flowers, like, I thought we're beyond this in the NFL, where like you want guys that get open and like can uncover themselves, are like good. And I feel like he is one of those players. Like, he's just good at getting open. So
for sure,
he should be able to, in theory, get red zone targets. But
I know. Well, Puka, we dealt with this a little bit.
Yeah, we do. It's just this is clearly like a scheme thing. Like,
yep. Yep.
Yeah. And that's why I always like, I don't mind him though. I actually think he's a pretty solid play. And like, there's a lot of bullet points that point to him. It's just like, you always have to play this game with him of like, could we get a touch? Are we getting a touchdown or not?
He's also 6,400, so you get to that kind of McConkey thing where it's like,
Yeah.
am I not now playing one of these Uber studs to play Zay Flowers? You know?
Correct.
So
I will say not for DFS at all, but if like you're in a if you're a real sicko, I'm gonna give you a sicko play. If you're like, I'm in a deep league, I'm running against it. I couldn't pick up anybody. I don't know it. I do think that you could take a shot on DeAndre Hopkins here.
oh my God.
Yeah. So he's the only wide receiver that's even run a route the past 3 weeks outside of Bateman.
Is that right?
Yeah. Outside of the last 3 weeks, he's the only other receiver to even run a route besides Flowers and Bateman since Likely's come back.
That's crazy.
So, but also
how many routes?
He's running the last 2 weeks he's running a route on 48% of the dropbacks that Bateman unavailable. Okay. And he's getting targeted 21% of the time, but here's the kicker. He's got a 28% target share against man coverage and 4.1 yards per out run. Like Lamar's giving a chance to win one-on-one.
So he's been targeted like pretty decently all year. It's just that he's been out. Like I think
he doesn't play.
He doesn't play,
but he's gonna play a little more here.
39% target or 39% route participation.
Sicko play, not in DFS. Don't play in DFS. This is just a sicko play.
This is like dynasty 16 team dynasty.
No, yeah, just like it's the Ravens only league, all AFC North league. But he did have he did have 2 catches for nearly 2 touchdowns, and these teams played at only 7 routes because he's been winning. Like Lamar's been giving a shot to win in one-on-one.
Is there? So I'm like, let me check here. Is it? We're not seeing anything from. Yeah, you're right. Because PFF doesn't always show the routes. They don't show routes unless you're targeted. But so I go through and check. I have a little check that I do. But you're right. Yeah, Devontae Walker has not run. He must be hurt. He hasn't run routes in like 6 weeks. Where's Tylan Wallace?
Yeah, Tylan Wallace. Yeah, Tylan Wallace hasn't played more than 9 snaps since the Chiefs game.
Yeah, 0-7, 2-8, 0-0. So man, it's
I mean, you're not blaming right. I'm just saying if you're against it, like it's just one of those nuggets. Like, hey, this dude like is probably you might be able to luck box and do a touchdown here.
Props, maybe in the props streets.
Yeah. Like it's gonna be low. Jesus,
it's gonna be low.
Gonna be real low.
It's gonna be pretty low.
I mean, I'm just saying I'm in some leagues and it's just like I lost some dudes. And it's like, I'm not gonna pick up Jack Besh. Like I might as well like see what happens.
You know
like,
what?
I don't know.
We have a shipcast. This is in the shipcast window. So I might steal this take. And underdog, don't be cowards. Put DeAndre Hopkins props up.
And listen, as I said,
it's higher.
I'm getting this one out early because we're going to have some other sicko plays at some point, especially when we get to the Cardinals. But this one
has. They only have. What is this? This is only touchdowns.
Probably because Bateman hasn't officially been ruled out, but they did say they're not expecting him to play.
They have first quarter yards at half a yard.
Just one catch.
First half yards at a half a yard. I think.
Yeah. Dude, against man coverage this year, 7 of 10 targets for 151 yards and 2 touchdowns.
All right.
It's some true sicko shit, as I was saying.
It really is. It really is. It's the type of play where underdog doesn't have a full game line available.
Yeah, I just want to put that out there. I wrote it up, so I at least want to put like someone else to hear it.
Yeah,
no one read that section. No one read that section at all. So
I love it. Derrick Henry, any interest in him? We talked about the run defense being tough.
Yeah, I think more season-long stuff. I don't know if there's a spot where he truly gets over. I do say if you want an angle for Derrick Henry, if you're like, man, I just really like, should I even outright bench him this week? Like maybe someone's like, I've got RJ Harvey now who's elevated, or Moody Marks
over Harvey and stuff.
Like no, but like so the last 3 weeks, the Browns have actually allowed 6 yards per carry, 5.9 on outside zone runs. And we saw like this is like a Breece Hall. Like we actually talked about this at Breece Hall last
Henderson.
week.
Henderson was doing.
Yeah, and Derrick Henry is 4th highest rate of running backs in terms of outside zone runs. Like that's your angle if like you think there's a crack in the armor. So,
We
but
also
they're not
saw
giving up
the
any big
screen
yards
run or the
either.
screen pass. Yeah,
Yeah,
with Brees Hall, like it
you
wasn't
got
a
to go on
run,
the
but like
edges of Cleveland. If you're gonna run on the
yeah,
Browns, you got to
yeah.
go on the edges.
Henry's been decent at screen. Like they don't ever really throw to him, but he's a good screen pass back. You know, because it's like once he gets up to full speed,
Yeah,
he should be used more like that. Frankly,
we've talked about this whole career, to be honest.
yeah,
Like that's been the
yeah.
thing. Like, why doesn't he a guy that like you could at least get the ball to in space a little bit more? Because Jonathan Taylor is like that too, and you get that dude like in the open, like he's just like what cornerback is tackling that dude?
It's like frightening. Like the guys, it's like the speed and the size. It's just crazy.
I think about all the time, like he's talked about like his high school stuff and
Yeah.
playing in high school, like dude, I was 135 pounds, like you can imagine, like that dude is like this, like who's tackling this dude? Like, I always think about too. Have
Yeah.
you ever heard that Brandon Jacobs story where he played in high school on cocaine?
No.
Like he talked about like the first time he ever did cocaine was before a game, and he said he ran for like 340 yards. Like imagine trying to tackle like Brandon Jacobs in high school, who was probably like a grown ass man. Like, have you seen his son? His son plays college, and he's like six
I
eight.
have.
Like,
He's like a tackle, right?
yeah, he's huge.
Yeah.
But like, imagine trying to tackle Brandon Jacobs like dormant Brandon Jacobs, like on cocaine. Like it's like
Yeah.
literally cocaine bear. Like
No, yeah. That's
like it's like
I mean, what kind it would make more sense to me if this story was him on like Adderall, like like time released. You know what I'm saying? Like games are long. See,
yeah. He was talking about it like whenever podcast he was on, he was talking
he's
about
like
it.
running to the bathroom. Coach, I gotta hit the bathroom real quick.
I
I'll
think
be
it was like
back.
before the game. It was like one of his friends or something was like, "Yo, man!" Like it was like he just he was like, "Yeah."
I mean, hey, you know.
Like his eyes are probably just so open running at you, like you're just like, oh man, it's like literally trying to tackle the Kool-Aid man. You're like, oh my god, like what am I gonna do?
Dude, I saw that. I saw myself. I was a linebacker. I was actually a safety. He was fully up to speed. I was I was running up to try to tackle him. It didn't go well. All right, let's go to the Panthers at Falcons. Uh, this is another Rico Dowdle setup. Rico Dowdle, he didn't totally flop last week, but I had him as a cover boy and flopped from that sense where he wasn't like the guy you needed. But the Falcons are both a run funnel in the sense of that you don't want to pass on them, so you run instead, which is you know who did we talk about earlier? Oh, the Vikings. The Vikings are kind of like that, where they're like, you don't want to. They have an aggressive pass defense. You don't want to have to go against a ton, so you run. But the Falcons' run defense is actually starting to look pretty weak now. 27th in DVOA, 28th in EPA, 29th in success rate. So they're just like a kind of a double run funnel setup where you don't want to pass and you do want to run. Teams are now averaging a 57% pass rate against them, minus 3% PROE, 2% shift to the run. And we have the Panthers who crushed the Falcons the last time they played and showed us in that game that they want to be a different team than they were at the start of the year. They started the year 68% pass rate, then 80%. They haven't topped 59% since. They 60% plus pass rates. League average is 62%. So this team has been very run heavy since that Falcons loss. Obviously, Rico Dowdle went on that tear and is now taking over the backfield. He's still very much in control of the backfield, 79% of snaps last week, 78% of carries, very similar to his usage in week 9 against the Packers. Chuba Hubbard's been pretty much phased out. A little bit of juice, or not juice, but a little bit of usage as a receiver, 30% route participation. So, he's not like completely phased out, but basically this is Dowdle's backfield, and this is a spot where I think the Falcons' run defense is one that the Panthers are going to want to attack. And the Panthers have been so committed to the run that even if the Falcons exact revenge and they're the ones in control of this game, I still think the Panthers run the ball plenty. You really have to push them to get them to pass the ball these days.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. But yeah, this is how you want to attack the Falcons. I mean,
Did they forget to add attributes for Bryce Young too?
they're a base nickel defense. They struggle against runs, like power runs, like teams that use multiple tight ends, that use a fullback. And Carolina's top half of the league and runs out of 12 personnel. They're eighth and runs out of 13 personnel. So like it's gonna be a lot of Rico Dowdle again. And these teams that go overseas and don't take the bye have kind of struggled too. Like this, so we've got the Falcons coming from Berlin. They already used their bye week up earlier in the year. They're traveling. Apparently, they had a bunch of people get sick too.
Do they get to
Over
choose
there.
that?
Yeah, the teams get to choose that. But it was interesting because they took an early bye. Like the NFL already gave them the thing. It's like, hey, week 10, you're playing in Berlin, but like they were like, we'll take the early bye that they had. So it's really unique. But you
Early
look at
bye
the
seems like a
international.
disadvantage. I would not want early bye. Week 11 bye
No,
seems
yeah,
great.
there's a double edge here because this is like they played a later international game
Yeah.
and still didn't take like it. If figured
Yeah.
you'd have the double, you'd
It's
be able to
strange.
double whammy. You get a later bye plus it's after an international game. Like why
Right.
wouldn't you do
Nope.
that? It seems pretty obvious, but
Hmm.
yeah. So, but like the Browns, they came back. They didn't use their bye. They came back and just were lifeless against the Steelers. The Broncos came back and like it took 3.5 quarters before they woke up against the Giants. Like they
Right.
were, both Jacksonville and the Rams took their byes. Minnesota did have a good run out because they faced Jake Browning in that game. But like this is like a multi-year sample though, where like these teams that don't take the bye, they're kind of flat the next week. So I would say this is a spot where Rico Dowdle probably stands out, especially because he was popular and he didn't flop, but like also didn't give like the tournament worthy score. So like people are like, well, I'm not going to click on him this
And he's
week.
expensive, 6,800.
Yeah, but I also think it's a spot where he's going to be in my tournament pool for sure.
I think for sure. I think he really should be because you get most of what you're looking for, right? You get a good matchup, you get a game environment that maybe isn't like super favorable for rushing attempts, but because they're the Panthers, like it really has to go bad for them not to run the ball. And then Dowdle has total control of the backfield and has been really good this year. So, it's as far as the talent-based projection, I think that's the thinnest part because it's Rico Dowdle. We didn't think he was good like a month ago, but he is running back 3 in rush yards over expected per game, running back 4 in success rate. It's clicking right now. Obviously, it wasn't quite as good last week, but you could see him be very efficient on a huge workload.
Yeah, and they're going to try to build the whole plane out of him. So
yeah, I think for season long, I'm a little bit interested in Tedero McMillan as a bet on the Falcons, basically, where like the Falcons do push the Panthers and they do have to pass at least a little bit more. McMillan's been awesome if you look
the
at like per
usage and
route.
stuff is there. It's just he's on a
Yeah.
team that has no interest in throwing a forward pass.
Yeah. Per route, per drop back share, great. If you want to look at like per game, not so great, right? Because they don't
And
pass.
another guy that has a high inaccurate target rate. When he
Yeah.
does get
Quarterback play
targeted.
is rough too.
The only wide receivers that have a higher inaccurate target rate than McMillan with as many targets as him are Devontae Adams, which was surprising when I wrote
Mm.
that up, and Justin Jefferson. So it's like,
I wonder
yeah.
if that's like a new team thing with Adams where they're still not fully on the same page because his efficiency
I was also
ticked up
thinking
recently.
too, is it might actually be because some of the end zone stuff is like him just winning 50-50 balls. Like,
Mm.
you know what I mean? It's not all design stuff. Like they let him try to win, but like
Right,
he's
right.
also been like their downfield target too.
Yep.
Largely, so it's like it's like I was just surprised, and then I was like, oh, this kind of makes sense. Like the types of targets Adams gets would probably come with a lower success rate than we inherently think they do, just because he has so many touchdowns, and it's why he doesn't have that many yards.
Right. No, that makes sense. Anything for the Falcons, Bijan Robinson is obviously like a locked in play season long, but we were talking on the DFS pod. Squirrel Patrol was mentioning like he thinks that Bijan gets squeezed, that he's not going to be very owned,
No, he
and
won't
was
be.
flagging him as a play. So, I mean, if Bijan is not really played that much this week, seems like a really strong play to me.
Well, the problem with Bijan though is that his salary. We talked this a little bit with Zay Flowers, and he's even more like you have to have touchdowns, and only 13% of his fantasy points this year are from touchdowns. It's the lowest rate for all RB1 scores. For context, that group averages a 28% of their points come from touchdowns. The only running back in the top
And what is
40,
he?
he's at 13.4%.
Yeah. Okay.
And it
Wow.
gets worse because I'm going to do this. I looked at the top 40 running backs, and the only player that has a lower rate of points scored from touchdowns is Alvin Kamara. His 2 rushing touchdowns this year are from 14 and 81 yards out. His
Ugh.
receiving scores are from 50 and 10 yards out.
Yeah.
Tyler Algier has outtouched Bijan Robinson 12-4 inside the 10 this year. He's been a problem. And it sucks because we would be having one of the near legendary upside seasons from Bijan Robinson.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But he's getting crushed in these. If he had Tyler Algiers, if all those touches were his in the red zone, he'd be absolutely nuking right now.
100% he would be. Yeah.
That's the one thing. That's the one fly in the ointment, dude.
Trust me, like I was prioritizing Gibbs, and in the legendary article, I was like, I'm taking Gibbs. I'm gonna have to fade Bijan because I'm taking Gibbs, and I've thought about that a lot because Robinson's so awesome, and he has the receiving work that I was a
he's
little
got to
skeptical
receive
he'd get.
everything but these
So
touchdowns.
it's like bad take, Pat, but maybe not because Tyler Algier is a secret superstar or whatever, according to Raheem Morris. Thank you, Raheem.
Well, and at the end of last year, they phased Algier out, so everyone was kind of like, "All right, it's not going to be a thing, right?" Like same coaching staff, he's here. They just phased Algier got phased out like the back 8 games last year, and Bijan took off because he was scoring touchdowns. He's look at his game log at the end of last year. He was scoring short touchdowns, and now he's back to just being dependent on scoring long touchdowns. Like he literally does not have a touchdown from single digit yardage this year.
It is strange though, because if you look at like Tyler Algier's got a 37% success rate this year. His rush yards over expected stink. He's running back 37. Bijan, his elusive rating, right? Tackle breaking, running back 27. Bijan's running back 2 in elusive rating. He's got a 42% success rate, running back 21, 16 rush yards over expected per game. Like all the metrics where you're like, hey, like we need a 6-yard run from the 6. You know, we need someone to punch in a touchdown from the 3. I would give the ball to Bijan Robinson, not just because of the name, but like all the numbers would support. And I know Algier is actually scoring touchdowns, so it's not like biting them, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's the type of thing where I could see Bijan, like if Bijan gets carries from the 6, why would
they did this last year because he only had through week 9 last year, he only had 4 rushing touchdowns, and then like obviously goes nuts. He is at that point on in 10, he is 2. Then he goes 1 touchdown, then 2, 2, 2, 2. Like,
there's no reason.
But that's the only thing in the way.
Use him at the goal line. Like he's great. He's better than Algier at everything.
And he's like outright getting lifted in these situations. Isn't like the Terrell Jennings things from a couple weeks ago where like he was in the game and stayed in the game. Like he's getting lifted for Algier in these spots.
That is awful. Yeah.
And that's the one fly in the ointment. But it did change last year around this time. But that's the only thing, or else we would be talking about him in the same context, even more so than Christian McCaffrey, because he's rushing.
Because he's rushing well. Yeah, really efficiently. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it takes a week of Algier getting stuffed. By the way, Algier, unrestricted free agent after the year.
Yeah, we need him out of there. We need to get this dude out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here, man.
Get out of here, bud. He might go start for someone, frankly.
Well, the bummer is because you can't use Algier, so he's the inverse. Like when you look at Algier, like, dude, 52% of his points are from touchdowns. That's all he's good for. That's all he's done.
Yeah. He's gonna get like a Jordan Mason type of opportunity, I think. That's my prediction there.
He might.
He should go to the Jets and he can be what they thought Braylon Allen was.
There's no player I want to leave a team more than him right now. But I think that's what makes it tough because Bijan obviously doesn't come cheap. Like that's never priced in with his salary, and that's the bummer.
No, yeah, he's expensive, but he's explosive. He catches passes. He's awesome, and no one's going to play him this week. So worth considering.
Yeah,
definitely worth considering.
It's just maddening. He's been awesome though. He's been a really good football player.
Yeah, he's really good. The best football player in the NFL, according to Raheem Morris. Maybe remember that, around the goal line this week.
Yeah, but I mean, this is one of those games. I like Dowdle a lot for DFS. The rest of the guys I think are just as play as is. If you want to take, I would never push back for like I like Bijan McGarry. You know, the rest of the guys I think are all just what you're doing in season long. You're playing Tet. The quarterbacks are QB2 dudes, and the rest of the guys that are involved in this game aren't real players. They're all NPCs. Well, I mean, Kyle Pitts is okay, but like whatever.
Yeah, I think Kyle Pitts is more. He is 4,000, and it's a week
Yeah,
without many cheap DFS options. Darnell Mooney's
I
3,700.
know.
Does
I
that
wish Bowers
do
was on
anything
this
for you,
slate.
dude?
No, Darnell Mooney, I can't. But I get it. He had 11 targets last time these teams played, so maybe it's
He's
just like the
really
Judy
cheap.
thing. He's really cheap. The Sims are trying to push him in some
Yeah.
stuff. Because I've tried to make a couple rules where I get JSN and Chase on the same team, and every time I do it, they keep
Mm.
giving me Mooney, and I'm like, no, yeah, stop it, computer, stop it. But to be fair, like that, the same thing with Judy last week. Like
Yeah,
he's out there. Like the dude is out there. Like he is exercising. Like he's
94% route participation. Hey, he is exercising, but this time he was exercising with a football near him. He was targeted on 28% of his routes. He had 0.59 yards per route run. So you're the guy who coined cardio.
yeah.
When does it stop being cardio? Do you have to catch the ball or do you have to get targeted?
Usually it's just the targeted, because then otherwise, like you're still like kind of playing the game when you get targeted. Like
Okay.
cardio, you're just running wind sprints.
All right. So
Uh,
28% targets per route run last week. He
yeah.
was playing football.
He also has the problem. He doesn't have as many targets as the guys we've talked about, but 29% inaccurate target rate.
Yeah. Well, Penix is. I mean, you just don't know what you're getting with Penix.
I mean, shit, half of the catches London has are inaccurate, and he still finds a way to get them.
Yeah. Well, here's the secret with London. This is what he figured out that no one else has figured out on the Falcons. You don't separate from your defender and you create like a blob that's an easier target point for Penix, right? It's a massive two humans, and then he just throws at the center of that mass, and London just mosses dudes and takes the ball away.
Yeah, they were running some sweet stuff with him. They're in a real sweet play in Berlin. They got him on that linebacker. Yeah,
He's awesome.
I
Yeah.
mean, London's been cooking,
Yeah.
but he's been
Yeah.
real hot. Wide receiver 1 back-to-back weeks.
He's running very hot, 2.3 point over expected in fantasy
Yeah.
points. Big time negative regression candidate from that perspective. His open score is also 9th percentile. That's why I mentioned he really isn't getting any separation. It's all these like really very, very impressive catches, but they're all difficult catches and not the type of stuff you want to be living on. So I would say he's more season long. Not real interested in him DFS. Honestly, Mooney, I think he's the type of guy that I'm not gonna be asking for, but if the computers give him to me on Sunday morning, I might have a little
Well,
Mooney.
my computer was giving it to me. I was trying to say no.
You just
I needed
restart.
like I thought like my McAfee was gonna block him like a pop up blocker for Darnell Mooney. But
Yeah.
no, but
Yeah.
again, like it does make sense though, because
Yeah.
it makes
3,700.
sense. He's gonna be out there. And no, like Pitts has the matchup too. It's just like Pitts has like not really been a ceiling play. I think like if he would have to be like a cash gamey type dude.
Yep. Yep.
I'll punt down, but
I
just
agree.
the problem with Pitts is like although he's been better and he's also just been on the field a lot, is just like he's not creating anything. Um, that he just has no yardage. Like he has no ability to like create yards after the catch. That's like the killer. Like he's averaging what
Yeah.
9.3 yards per catch. Like this is not the player that came into the NFL, and whether injuries sap that or not, like just no juice.
Yeah. And the other thing with Pitts that's a little tricky, he has a 9% first read target rate. And if you look at his first read targets by week, 10, 13, 0, 12, 3, 13, 13, 11, 15%. You want to see like Darnell Mooney's been at 21% twice. You want to see guys who
Yeah.
can spike a little bit there, because if you're not like a priority on the play sheet ever, right? Tedero McMillan, I just scrolled up. He's a guy who's actually installed as the number 1. He's been at 20, 17, 28, 19, 15, 19, 12, 24, 25, 27% first street target rates. That's some good stuff. That's going to allow you, it just makes it so much easier for you to to dominate targets in a given week. If they're calling plays where you're the first read, obviously, if the coverage doesn't allow you to go to the first read, you're not going to get the target, but just a better chance of you're open, the coverage allows the target to go there, boom, you get targeted. It just raises the ceiling, and we just have not seen at any given game Pitts be like a priority on the play sheet, right? So I think it just makes him more of a season long type of dude. Although
Yeah.
again, at 4,000 without a ton of other cheap options, I don't think it's crazy. He's just not someone I'm really super interested in for DFS.
Right.
All right, Texans at Titans. Who's the better quarterback in this game, Rich?
I don't think unequivocally right now it's not the first pick of the draft. This is your segment every week. This is your weekly time to shine. He
No, but
was on
I'm
buy.
flipping
He was
it.
on.
I'm flipping it like with Drake May, right? It's once he started cooking. I don't know if you noticed. I would always throw to you because I want to hear once it's good, once it's like over the tipping point where I don't have to drive the narrative. I'm like, now you tell me, how good Drake May is, and I'm to the point with Ward. It's like now you tell me that this is not looking like it's working out.
I mean, I'll give it to you if you want. Listen, 6 yards for pass attempt, only ahead of Bryce Young and Dylan Gabriel. Last in touchdown rate, 32nd in sack rate, ahead only Justin Fields. He is last in the rate of dropbacks resulting in 1 EPA or more, which I call like boom plays, like they give you a full point of EPA. And then he's also last in rate of dropbacks that result in minus 1 EPA or worse, which I call bust plays. So, yep. And he's facing the Houston Texans. Pretty good defense. Last time these teams played, what was he? He completed 10 of 26
He was
passes.
4th percentile in EPA per play and
10
8th
of
percentile in
10
success
of
rate.
26 passes. He had 4 fantasy points.
Oh my god.
I'm actually surprised he had 4 fantasy points, to be honest.
Is that you're taking that as bullish? Yeah, man, it's
what do you
rough.
want us to say here? What does you want to say
Yeah.
here? This offense is dead on arrival in this matchup, right?
It's dead on arrival. Texans number 1 defense in weighted DVOA, number 1 in passing DVOA, number 1 in EPA, number 2 in dropback success rate. Like this is an elite pass defense. It's driven by an elite pass rush. They're pretty strong in coverage, but they're really gonna pressure Cam Ward here. And so yeah, I mean, I think a couple things to say. In addition to the efficiency issues, we had the coaching change, and Mike McCoy had a 76% pass rate against the Patriots, which was 4% above expected. And that was nice to see because it's like the only thing we have in Tennessee is passing volume. We weren't getting any efficiency. But then against the Colts, they were at -6% pass rate of expected and -14% on first down. So prioritizing the run when the defense doesn't know what's coming, not good if you're trying, to get efficiency out of the passing game. It's kind of like they're trying to hide the quarterback, which is exactly what's happening. And then -7% and -6% on first down against the Chargers. So we're starting to see, and they had a 58% pass rate, which is their lowest of the season. And the only time they've had a below average pass rate all season. They previously bottomed out at 62%, which, it's because Brian Callahan was just passing the crap out of the ball and McCoy's playing it differently. So that creates even more downside for this offense where we don't have the volume to kind of save us in garbage time or just over the course of a lot of negative game script throughout the game. So that's not great. The other thing is that, talking about JJ McCarthy and how bad he was last week, he had -5.4 EPA against the Ravens. And that was enough to move him up over Cam Ward because Cam Ward is sitting down in the negative. He's like -8 point something, -8 and change in EPA this year per game. So it's just like the average game is just, and I think that's the part of it that people haven't fully clocked with Ward. It's that like he makes a few really sweet throws per game, but over the course of a game, he turns in a ton of really negative plays.
Right.
We haven't seen a single game where he's been 50th percentile above in EPA per play. And he's typically down in like the 25th percentile mark or lower. And so, yeah, we just haven't seen him do anything promising over the course of 4 full quarters. This is not, I mean, this is like unfair, right? This is like kind of messed up
Yeah.
that they're doing this to him. I've really criticized Ward, but I'm not for this. This is not cool. This defense is too good. And obviously it's going to change things for the game environment here with this kind of mismatch. So on the Texans side, like, you do have condensed targets potentially with Schultz out. Let me see if he practiced today because he hadn't practiced Wednesday or Thursday. We got the Friday practice report, and he's full. Okay, so he'll go. All right, so Nico Collins and Schultz will be kind of your two guys there. They're still splitting stuff up between Kirk and Noel. Noel actually like forced a bit of a split last week with Kirk. Hutchinson and Higgins were in a near even split. So it's really just Collins and Schultz that we have an interest in there. But Woody Marks, 80% of snaps, 64% of carries last week. He also gets used as a receiver a little bit. Only an 8% target share on the year, but 1.32 yards per out run. He's showing some juice there. And if he's taken over the backfield, we could see him, maybe in that 10, 11% target share range, which would be really nice. In positive game script, do you have any interest in him?
Yeah, lots of interest in him. And who's not ready to have Lucy pull this football on us another time this year, right? Like, because Nick Chubb was limited in practice like all last week, so he got the start, but like it was really good. Like, and D'Amico Ryans talked about how good he was. So hopefully they don't. It's a prime spot too, because they won't have to rely on 45 Davis Mills dropbacks here. It's just not. They're not need that. They're not going to need that here with this defense against this offense. This is a game script game. Woody Marks already had 119 yards and 2 touchdowns against this Tennessee team. He's definitely on my board. I actually thought he was going to be more popular at the opening of the week, and like he's just never gotten there. And I think it's just because like we were burned by him once, and like no one. But like
we weren't just burned by him; we were burned by the Texans.
Correct.
We thought they were going to like install him, and they didn't.
Yeah, and they might not. Like Nick Chubb's one of these guys that like coaches want to give him because he works hard. He's a likable dude, right? Like I get it, but yeah. It's time. It's time. Like we're gonna find this out in 2 weeks, right? With Travion Henderson or 1 week with when Ramondre's back. Like it's just like you got to start playing the guy that's playing better football. Like, and that's where we are.
I actually think Henderson did enough. When you score 3 touchdowns, I think you're the dude.
But I mean, I think the Texans are at a point in their season where they got that win last week. You can get to 500 here. You're not dead. It's time to start playing the better football players. Like
Ryan's had a quote that like no one's a rookie anymore.
It's time to start playing the better football players. And I would think Woody Marks did enough last week. Also, did you watch the game? Like I thought he tore his Achilles, like on like the 5th play of the game.
See that. This was in the 1 p.m. So I had red zone on mostly.
I was like, oh my God, like Woody Marks just tore his ACL. And I thought he was tore his Achilles. And like I was like, he's gone. And like he was good. He was good. It came back. Like had an awesome game. I was like, oh my goodness, thank goodness. I was like, I was on tilt.
He just went down like
like awkwardly, like, and it was like one of those things where like he was feeling for it, and I was like, oh
yeah,
like I was like, oh no, and then he ended up being okay. I was like, oh, it was like very rarely
it is pretty rare.
Does that not happen? Yeah. So I'm in on him though. I thought he'd be more popular. I think he's in that price range, like we talked about, like that Aaron Jones-iest price range. I think this slate is viable to play a couple of these mid-range running backs and go heavy at wide receiver. I think we're going to see some big wide receiver games this week. And we haven't really gotten to the full players. Like Justin Jefferson's one that we talked about that I think is capable of doing it. Obviously, Jonathan James has to help us facilitate some of this. But guys like Jason and Chase, like I want to find a way to get those guys. And like guys like Woody Marks and Aaron Jones are like ways to do this.
Yeah, no, I think I actually wonder if people will get to him more because that build I think is pretty appealing.
Yeah, I mean, we have CMC at the top, and we'll get to that again because it's the same kind of conversation we had. The conversation we actually had about CMC last week got me off of him a little bit last week. And I do think it changes a little bit this week, but we'll get there. But like, there's no Achane on this slate. Jonathan Taylor's not on the slate. I do like Josh Jacobs a lot, who we talked about.
Yeah.
But it's just like, all right, like is there a way to do a build where we can get just
Rico's a little in the
these
middle.
where we can get these, how can we get these hitters in our lineup that could potentially have 30-point DraftKings points, like PPR points? And I do think, obviously JSN and Chase and Justin Jefferson, like those guys are capable.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I think there's
Woody Mark
actually
should help
less
there,
on the running backs. I want to take more bullets, I think, in the mid-range guys as arbitrage, because like we're going to see guys like Jalen Warren be really popular. Guys like Chase Brown's going to be really popular because of the sim stuff. But like those guys are also beatable dudes.
Yeah, but if they let you get, because the other dude here, and we'll get to him soon, is Trey McBride, right? So it's like I'm getting the pass catchers that can just get like, I'm getting like 3 pass catchers, and they're all the average is like 15 targets.
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's pretty appealing, and Marks can help there. He's not like a punt play exactly, but 5,400. And you're
we're
probably
gonna have to
cheaper
play
at quarterback this
we're gonna
week.
have to play one of these in those builds. You almost have to pay down at quarterback, whether it be McCarthy or one guy we haven't talked about yet, or Flacco. You can get the Flacco still.
Yeah, Flacco.
Those guys are also doable, but like, I mean, it's just a build that I've been playing with, and like typically when I go that route, it's in this range where it's like an Aaron Jones, Woody Marks to get there.
Yeah.
But I am interested in him. He's probably the only guy. I think the other guys are more season-long stuff, because I just don't think the passing volume is going to be there. While the Texans are throwing, Schultz and Nico are going to be fine. But I just don't know if this is a game where like they need, like they're not going to have like the dropbacks here, I don't think.
Nico at 6,700. We talked about like, or am I really going to play this guy like, McConkey in kind of this range? And it cost me one of I could see Nico having a pretty awesome game against the Titans, who are bad on defense. Now, it looks like maybe Simmons ends up playing. He's dealing with a hamstring injury, and I think has been limited now 2 practices in a row. So that would
made him and Ridley both questionable, but they were practicing, which is usually a pretty good sign that they'll be up.
Yeah,
not that we care about Ridley, but
so well, I mean, I think Ridley's like at least somewhat in play for season long. Those leagues where you're considering DeAndre Hopkins, you're happy to have Ridley.
Right. Yeah.
He matters there. Jeffrey Simmons, DNP, LP. So it sounded like maybe he would play.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Like the trend, usually when you see that, he's going to go. Will it be a full capacity is the thing.
He's the defensive tackle 1 in pass rush win rate. And looking at like the actual rate, he was like 20% win rate, and the next guy's 15. He's like clearly the number 1 guy, and he's number 1 in pass rush grade per PFF too. So it's like a wasted career year type of situation for Jeffrey Simmons. But he like changes. The Texans' offensive line is not good, so he would make me a little less interested in the passing game. But that's mostly for season long. So I don't know. Like I'm not benching Nico Collins because
absolutely not.
So yeah. So I guess it doesn't. As I'm talking through, I'm like, I don't know that I'm applying this information in any real way, because I'm not really playing these guys in DFS. So. But, good to know. The more you know. Simmons is playing.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the Bengals at Steelers. I'm not saying we buried the lead here, but did we? Is this the best game in the 1 p.m. slate?
It's got the Bengals in it.
So is it the best game in the 1 p.m. slate? I kind of think it might be.
It's gotta be, right? Like, especially, Well, one, we got the Bengals, and we already proved of concept because these teams played a fun game already once. Granted, it was in Cincinnati. The one wild card here is this is like a November Heinz Field game, but the weather like in the East could be fine this week. Like I know there's some wind stuff in my area, but like it's gonna be 60 degrees, like where I'm at. And like mid-November, dude, you're in shorts, baby. Like you live in the East Coast for a while. Like, it's November, 60 degrees. Like get it in while you can. But the Bengals have now allowed 77 more points than their opponents' implied team totals this year.
Wow.
That's most in the league. Yeah.
That's a cool way of looking at it.
The next closest team is the Cowboys. They're at 53.5. So 25 more points. They've allowed 24 more actual points in 8 straight games. It's the longest active streak in the league, one short of their franchise record, which came over the 1998 and 1999 seasons. Like, this is a historically bad defense.
Yeah.
And since they got Flacco, they're number 1 in the NFL in offensive EPA over the span they got Flacco. So, like, they've turned into just a carnival ride. Like, their games have been just bonanzas, dude. Like, and
I know
it's
Zach
like,
Taylor gets a lot of crap, but like he knows the situation that he's in.
yes,
he's not pretend like this is not. We talk like the overly conservative coaches and stuff, and I'm not like Taylor literally got rid of Lou.
I mean, what do you think the front office
So
openly
dumb.
said? They're like, "Hey, Zach, we have an option. Like, the Browns will give us Flacco. Do you want him?" And he was like, "Hell yes, give me that deal." Like, yeah, he was just so dumb.
I think it was even more proactive than that. It sounded like they specifically targeted Flacco because they were like the only the guy we can actually pull this off with is
Just
Joe Flacco.
the only guy that we can get right now is Flacco.
Yeah. Well, they could have gone. They could have gotten Winston. They could have. I'm sure Winston was available.
Probably, but Flacco's better than Winston.
He is. Yeah. So, I mean, I would say good for them, but they've gotten incredible efficiency out of Joe Flacco and have gone 1-3.
Yeah. Dude, they lost home games to the Bears and Jets.
It's awful. It's awful. So, I mean, there you go. I don't want to give Taylor too much credit because he just lost home games to the Bears and Jets, but they did figure out the guy that they could just chuck it with and actually.
But they're losing the way we want them to lose.
Well, I don't want them to lose, man. I want Burrow back. I want this plus Burrow.
Oh, fair. Well, you got to beat the Jets at home if you want Burrow back. But
I know. Burrow,
he's
practicing.
That's his job. Yeah, he's gonna play again.
He's
gonna
be on
Thanksgiving slate. He's gonna be for us. We're gonna have him Thanksgiving night.
That's dude. And he plays the Ravens. That game could be so fun. Thanksgiving night, Burrow, Lamar. Come on.
And I don't think it's a thing either where he's held out. Like, you forget, like, people always do this. Like, why would you play this? We like when the 49ers like playing the Rams, they should just bench CMC and just like punt this game. Like, Joe Burrow's job is to quarterback the Cincinnati Bengals. If he's healthy enough to do the job, he's going to do it. It doesn't matter the context of where they are. Like, that's as simple as that. That's where the conversation ends.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I certainly hope you're right because, I mean, he is like one of these guys that would actually make sense to shut down for the year, like. Especially if they get rid of Taylor and they're just like, let's just tank it out. It would actually make a lot of sense for them to do that.
Yeah,
but
it'd be different if it was like something like chronic injuries or something. But like Burrow's injuries are all fluky as hell. Like, they're all weird. He had the ACL, but then he had the wrist thing, and then this one, like, they're just weird injuries.
Yeah, it's so weird how they have the worst offensive line in the league year after year, and their quarterback keeps getting hurt the various different ways. What could be the common denominator here? I don't know. Yeah. I think fluky is I take.
Well, they're just like fluky. Weird. They're not common quarterback injuries.
Yeah, it's because they can't protect him, like ever. So I mean, they're 30th. So this actually is a little bit of a transition to a note that I think is kind of fun in the walkthrough. The Bengals, when Flacco took over, ranked 31st in quick pressure rate. So they're allowing quick pressure at the second highest rate. Sorry, I just screwed this up. They ranked 31st in overall pressure rate. So they're allowing pressure at the second highest rate. They're now 13th in pressure rate. They're actually above average in preventing pressure. Their quick pressure rate hasn't really changed. They were 31st before, and they're 29th now. So this is a Joe Flacco stat. He has 2.58 seconds per throw. He's getting the pass out very, very quickly. And that is how you attack the Steelers. You attack the Steelers because they have a weak secondary. They're allowing explosive plays at the sixth highest rate. They're dead last in protecting the splash zone, 10 plus yards and over the middle. They're 18th in coverage grade, but they've got a really strong pass rush. TJ Watt's still solid, but Herbig is now the main dude there. Nick Herbig is number one in pass rush win rate among edge players. Alex Highsmith at edge also ranks 12th, although he's probably going to miss this game. He was DNP. But they've got Cameron Hayward as well, ranking third among defensive tackles and pass rushing grades. So it's a deep pass rush group with star power, and you have to just get the ball out as quickly as you can, kind of like against the Browns. But Flacco is well suited to do that. So yeah, I have optimism that we get another good Flacco game here, where they're going to pepper Chase. Right? It's like we've seen this before, and it's kind of weird just to be like, it's going to happen again. But I kind of think it might happen again, where they just kind of relentlessly target Chase throughout this game.
Yeah, Steelers and these teams played the first game. They've actually blitzed at their third lowest rate, but they played their third highest rate of man coverage. If you remember, like Richard Sherman was going crazy, like during the broadcast, like why are you just like letting them throw pass after pass at Jamar Chase? It sounds like Darius Slay is not going to play. He hasn't been good, but that also forces maybe Brandon Eccles to play more. The second Brandon Eccles stepped on the field on Sunday night, Justin Herbert immediately just went at him. The first time these teams played, the Bengals did not throw at Joey Porter Jr. at all. They didn't care. They were like, whatever, go ahead, man. So like they probably do the same thing here. They did sign Asante Samuel, but like he hasn't played. I don't know if we're going to see him even dress or like what he's going to do when he's active. So yeah, Chase, Higgins, the volume's going to be here. They've thrown the ball 45, 47, 34, and 47 times in Flacco's games.
Wow.
Like the only thing I can even talk myself into of like this potentially being bad is like the divisional rematch and like outdoor Heinz Field, like because they've played all home games since Flacco, but like that's very loose. Like that's like it's all narrative. Like it's just there's nothing else for me to like that's preventative here objectively to say like why wouldn't we just keep going right back to the Bengals passing game?
Those are always the thinnest stuff to me because it's
Yeah.
like the uniforms don't play each
Yes.
other, the players
Right.
do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like, yeah, that's really it though. But like on paper, it's like, yeah, the secondary is still weak link for the Steelers. We got a team throwing the ball. They have to throw the ball because they can't stop anyone. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So it's just like, I'm Jamar Chase. I'm T. Higgins here. T. Higgins had a season high 10 targets last time these teams played. He's also given Joey Porter Jr. trouble as well. He's like one of the few guys like one-on-one has given him a hard time in recent years. So yeah, I mean, they're allowing the most yards to outside wide receivers in the NFL. It's just like, yeah, double it up. Flacco, Chase, Higgins, double it up.
Yeah. I'm into it. I mean, Noah Fant's not really playing. He's so that you don't got to worry about that.
No, when they throw the ball so much, like eventually, like these ancillary guys will eventually come along for the ride. Like we saw Yoshabas have a good game against the Bears. Like if you're throwing the ball 50 times, it can't all like you're not throwing all 50 to these other two guys. So like you love it.
Hold my beer.
Well, the first time they got 33 targets. So
yeah, man, it's crazy.
Yeah,
the Higgins stuff. Higgins has been kind of in the same role.
But you only play Higgins in doubles.
I agree. It's Chase is the dude where they move him around. He gets targeted shallow underneath. We've seen ADOTs for Jamar Chase of pretty low. So against the Jets, he was at 3.6, Packers 8.9, the Steelers 7.1.
But you talk about this with Taylor. He's repeatedly at least understood the assignment in Chase's whole career of understanding how to get Chase the football.
100%. T. Higgins, his ADOTs are very consistent, 12 yards downfield or more.
That's why he's only a double, because if he hits, that means Flacco hits.
That means Flacco hit. Yeah, exactly. But he draws a ton of double coverage. He drew 45% double coverage rate against the Steelers. Chase was at 33% in that game. Over the last 3 weeks, Higgins has been double covered at a higher rate than Chase every single game. It's because
they move him around.
Downfield guy.
And they move Chase around.
Yeah.
It's what we talked about with McBride, why like teams don't like throw everything at McBride. It's because like you can't devote like all resources to a dude that's like getting an 8-yard target. Like you just can't. Like that's bad defense, structurally bad defense. Like you just live with it.
Right. Although this week, I don't know. We'll talk about them soon, but maybe you do that this week because Michael Wilson, who cares? Chase Brown.
Scared of him still.
Are you?
Yeah.
Perine's out, right?
Yeah, Perine's out, but still scared of him. Like this is like still a situation where like I think he's highly volatile for him to be super chalky to the degree he's going to be.
That's fair. I do think
the usage will be here.
96% of snaps last week. 73% of carries, 30% target share. That's like it's like a two gamer, you know, for
Yep.
some of these running backs. Like Aaron Jones, you say if you told me he's getting like 40% of the carries, 35% of the carries,
Yeah, it is like
50% target
last
share.
year.
Yeah,
Last year's usage. Basically
yeah,
back to just like
we're back.
100% of the backfield touches. Um, yeah, no, I mean it totally makes sense. I should probably be more
5,700.
in.
I'm pretty now. He is big time chalk, so I'm not saying you got to play him at like 30% ownership, but
No,
I
you're
am
right.
saying I probably will. You don't
Yeah.
gotta. I probably will.
I'm so
Um,
glommed onto the chase blinders that I probably am just like no, I'm not gonna do this. But he should be as well. Just because the opportunity and the cost.
the opportunity, the cost, and the matchup. Steelers you can run on.
Well, they're hit or
And I
miss.
do.
It's like sometimes you can, sometimes you can't.
Yeah, fair enough.
They're
But
sixth in yards allowed per contact to runs. Like, I mean, think about it, like they gave the bag to Vidal on Sunday night, but the weeks before that they shut down Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor.
yeah, although the Taylor shutdown was sort of like a more overall complete
Yeah.
shutdown of the offense.
Well,
But yeah,
they gave a lot of points still in that game when they didn't get turnovers. That was another Jekyll and Hyde game that we talk about the turnovers masking a lot. And
yeah,
that's why people got back. Oh, Steelers defense is back. And it's like it turns out they
right,
were
right,
not.
right,
It turns out
right,
they were not.
right.
When you get 6 turnovers, you are in fact back.
Yeah, it's nice if you can actually just get stops, which is actually more repeatable as opposed to turnovers, which are nice, but if that's all you're doing,
No, but you're right. Yeah,
uh,
5,700 is too cheap for a guy that's
it's too
gonna
cheap.
get 14 targets last game.
I mean, like the thing with Brown is that his efficiency's been like pretty whatever. He's at a good success rate, running back 9 there. He gets targeted, but only 1.02 yards per out run. He just has that profile where like he's not bad, but he's not great. And it's just like you just need all the touches. It's Kyron
Yep.
Williams
Yep.
you know? And if you don't have all the touches, he's not going to save you with efficiency. But if you
Right.
do have all the touches, you're kind of golden because he does enough where he's not going to like he can actually take advantage of it. He's not terrible. He's not just a place where like touches go to die. He actually can spike if you give him enough volume.
You're right.
So yeah, I think he's a pretty strong play and good chalk.
No, you're right.
Again, not someone you have to play, but it sounds like you probably prefer Warren, who's also going to be pretty big chalk in this game.
Yeah, it's hard not to he's the home favorite, right? Like
Yep.
and it's just every week, man. Like it's like why go against the grain? It's last time we saw the Bengals 235 yards and a touchdown to Kyle Monangai and Britton Brown. The week before that, 265 yards and 2 touchdowns to Breece Hall and Isaiah Davis. The week before that, 173 yards to this backfield. In that game, the last time these teams played, the Steelers were actually in a little bit of negative game script, but Jalen Warren ran for 8 yards per carry. He gained positive yards on all 16 of his runs. He had 4 runs of double-digit yardage, a 57% success rate. It's just every week these guys can't stop any running back.
Yeah, I prefer him to Brown as well.
And
He's
I don't know if Tomlin's going to follow through on his word. So like last week, he didn't play any third downs. And the Steelers went 2 of 11 in the game. They were 0 for their first 9 on third down. He didn't play any of them. He also only ran 8 routes to Kenneth Gainwell's 25. And they asked Tomlin about it. And he was like, well, Jalen's capable of doing those things. Like, we don't have any restrict times. It's like, are you going to give him those touches? Like, he is third in yards per out run behind Christian McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson, but he's run fewer routes than Kenneth Gainwell the last 2 games. He should be used like when we talk about Chase Brown. Let him just do it all.
just do it all. Yeah, he's getting used like Breece Hall instead.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
Good call. Yeah,
But this is a spot where if you told me Breece Hall was in this matchup, it'd be like he's an RB1.
I mean, a home favorite against the Bengals run defense. That's like really where I start my analysis.
Yeah, and I think like Rodgers has been okay this year. Obviously, recently hasn't been as good, but
But he
the
broke
big
tendency.
thing.
This because it's the Bengals. They do this to everybody. Like they are the elixir of like, what are you bad at? Like we've got the tonic for you. That's like just like snake oil sales, but like it works, dude. Like, dude, Aaron
He's got
Rodgers
the
is
the bag. He opened it
yeah.
up.
Dude. So Aaron Rodgers this year, 44% of his passes have gone 5 or more yards downfield. It's the lowest rate in the NFL. The NFL average is 55%. He's 10% below it.
Yeah, because he refuses to get hit.
But when these teams played each other, 9.1 air yards per attempt.
Dude.
He threw 3 passing touchdowns and throws 10 or more yards downfield. This is most of his games. Like, do whatever you want to do to the Bengals, except for throw at DJ Turner. You're allowed to do. DJ Turner is the only good player they have outside Trey Hendrickson, and Trey Hendrickson is not playing.
He's not playing. DK Metcalf has been like weirdly shallow in a number of games this year at a 2.58 out against the Colts. We got told right away what this year was about when he had a 4.18 out in week 1 against the Jets. Yep. He was at 7 against the Seahawks, right? 25.2 against the Bengals. They were throwing downfield. They don't have a pass rush, and the only pass rusher they have is Hendrickson, and he's out. So they're dead, or sorry, not dead last. That's unfair. They're 31st in quick pressure rate. One team is worse. Pressure rate, they're 3rd worst. 30th in pass rush win rate. But they probably really are the worst pass rush in the league without Hendrickson. So I think think you're going to see Rodgers being a little bit more aggressive this week. I kind of think this is an interesting spot for DK Metcalf. 5,700 for him. If you're doing the build where you go with more of the expensive running backs and try to find cheaper receivers, Rodgers and Metcalf is kind of an interesting stack. 5,400 to 5,700. Any interest in that? Bengals defense.
It's tough because the only thing they do is not give up points to wide receiver ones. Because they're giving up so many points to everyone else. But they actually, DJ Turner has been legitimately awesome. Like it's only Quinyon Mitchell is a lot of lower catch rate in coverage than DJ Turner this year.
Okay.
He's only allowing a reception once every 18.3 coverage snaps. That's 6th best. They've only allowed 100-yard receiver all year. Wide receivers only have 34% of the fantasy points against the Bengals, which is the lowest in the NFL. Again, like tight ends and running backs are killing them, but DJ Turner's metrics actually are pretty good. He only had 5 targets when they played too in a game where like Aaron Rodgers had an abnormal. And what's funny is Jamar Chase has more targets in 4 games at Joe Flacco than DK Metcalf has all season.
That's nuts. Although you could do that to a lot of receivers. That's a Jamar Chase stat, not a DK Metcalf stat.
Yeah. Well, it might be a DK Metcalf stat too. So I mean, it's tough. I think it takes a step of faith just because the Bengals have like DJ Turner's been so good, but like this would be a spot like I'm objectively would tell if you were to tell me like would this be a good Aaron Rodgers game, I would say yes. So then you just play from that. You just go from go from that step.
I've got another stat for you in this game. If you look at 70% plus pass rates this year, no team except the Bengals has more than 3 of those. The Bengals have 3 of those in Joe Flacco's 4 starts alone and are at 6 for the season. So this team is passing on another level, which you've talked about the extreme pass volume, but it's really wild. But to go back to the tight end point, if you're not interested in Metcalf and they're getting killed by tight ends and the Steelers love to throw to the tight end, are we playing the Steelers tight ends here? And if so, which one?
I tried to at least make the objective case. If you had to pick one, this would be Darnell Washington's spot. Because if you believe in Pittsburgh being a home favorite and having more of a running script than the first matchup, this is where Darnell Washington plays more. His 3 highest snap counts this year have come in wins. His 2 highest yardage totals have come in home wins where they have a lean to the run. So that was kind of my tiebreaker. Like, how aggressive are you going to be with that information in terms of DFS or season long stuff? That's the next question. Like, this is in context of which of these, like, it's like just literally the meme of what is it? The Cerberus or the dragons where like they're all goofy looking. And, like, Like it's these guys. That's these guys, man. Like, I will say, like, if you're forcing me to pick one,
he looks like the coolest one. Like he's a dragon meme, like he's the coolest dragon. He is
cool. Yeah. But like that's he had 3 for 62 in the Cleveland game, 4 for 43 in the Colts game. Like if you think they're going to be running the ball, which I do believe they're going to be running the ball, and they're running it effectively, like he's going to have shots for those play actions, and like he's beyond the field more because he's like the inverse of Dalton Kincaid, like we talked about, or these other guys. Who did we talk about earlier? That was like, this guy's out of the field. Like it's the opposite. Like he's gonna be in all these run sets.
So week 9, that's the Colts game. Pat Fryermuth, 51% route participation, 3 for 27 and a touchdown. Jonnu Smith was at 44%, 3 for 25. And Darnell Washington, 41% route participation, 4 for 43. And this is something I had noticed earlier in the season. They were able to kind of get rolling downhill a little bit, and that's when we were seeing Washington. Washington was up to 61% route participation in week 6.
That was the Cleveland game?
64% in week 4. I think that's the Cleveland game, or that might have been the Vikings game. Let's see. They played week 4 was the Vikings and week 6 was the Browns. So yeah, and he was at 60% plus in both games.
Yeah, and those are some of their better running games of the year. That was like Kenneth Gainwell game in London, man.
Yeah, they put it on the Vikings with Kenneth Gainwell. The best ball bags would have appreciated that being Jalen Warren, but he missed that game with that knee injury.
Yeah, he's been an objectively good best ball pick, though.
He has, but I've got some other not good picks that I could have used another spike week to help out.
Fair enough. But I mean, like I said, do with that information what you will. Like, am I going to include Darnell Washington in my player pool? Probably not. Still,
it's not crazy though. At 2,700
he is cheap enough if you're punting. Like, so like this will be another slate when we get to McBride.
I think you can play to consider, honestly.
You can play 2 tight ends this week if you want, because McBride's a wide receiver.
McBride is a wide receiver this week for sure.
It's important to remember
just
this.
In general. Yeah, I mean, I like Jonnu Smith's 2,900 and Washington's 2,700. So that feels like a little icky to play Washington, I would say, but I don't think it's nuts because he fits the game script better. Probably. I guess the pushback I'd have on a guy like Washington is he fits one specific game script.
Yes, if you don't get it, and if you don't get it,
yeah. So you're betting,
you're vulnerable.
And like in a weird way, and maybe someone who's better with math would maybe tell me if this is dumb, but like, does he correlate with Warren where you're betting on like that, or did they?
Yeah, he would, right?
Cannibalize the touchdowns. But they
Warren's only scored in one game. He's only scored in one game. So we don't know, right? Like we don't know. He's only scored in one game.
But that's the game. The game script where Warren does well, I think, helps Washington because they're rolling downhill.
That's that was my angle. Is like if we're this bullish on Warren, if you're making like that's where I say like the signal would be to Washington.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it's just that if you love Chase and you love the passing, like
bringbacks
of Darnell Washington don't make any sense. He's like a terrible bringback on Flacco stacks.
Yeah,
unless Flacco's getting there in garbage time.
Unless you're just counting him as like an outright punt, right? Because this is he did score in the first game, but he had 3 catches for 2 yards.
But also Fryermuth's 3,200, so I think some like all of these tight ends are like semi interesting. You're
definitely trying to talk yourself into a narrative with whoever you pick, right? Like
it's whoever scores the touchdown, man. And like we just don't know. We are guessing, but like I think this feels like
I would pay a lot of money for Pittsburgh tight end this week. If Pittsburgh tight end was a position, I would pay a lot for it. And if Rams tight end was a position this week, I'd pay a lot for it.
I'd pay more for Pittsburgh tight end than Rams tight end.
Yeah, but like we gotta, if you're making me choose, that's the analysis I'm providing.
Are you playing Pittsburgh tight end or George Kittle?
Oh, Pittsburgh tight end for sure.
I think Trey McBride is the only tight end I would play over Pittsburgh tight end.
Yeah. If it was just Pittsburgh tight end.
Yes. All right. I mean, that's something. Let's go to the Seahawks at Rams. Speaking of Rams tight end, you want to talk Seahawks side?
This is the mirror match, right? Like both these teams are doing all the things that we talked about earlier, like the McShanahan tree, like under center. They have 2 quarterbacks, the highest under center rate in the NFL. Want to play motion, play action, stem everything off of that. We want to make everything look like the run in the pass. We want to be able to pass out of heavy sets, open everything up. That's what's matchup so fun. Both defenses also very good. There's an outcome where this is a fist fight. There's an outcome where this is a fist fight. I will say there's a little more holes, I think, on the Rams side than the Seahawks side, just because the competent offenses that the Rams have played have kind of been okay, at least from a fantasy football stance, against them. Like Mac Jones has thrown for 300 yards both
Yeah.
times against
Yeah.
them. Jalen Hurts threw for 3 touchdowns and had 29 fantasy points against the Rams. Daniel Jones had a bad fantasy game, but I would argue he didn't play like objectively awful in that game. Like he was just wasn't, it's whatever. But then outside of that, Rams have faced CJ Stroud, Cam Ward, Trevor Lawrence, Cooper Rush, and Tyler Shuck. So this is a definite test for them as well. Seahawks haven't been as battle tested either. Like they have Trevor Lawrence as well on their resume. Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers, Spencer Rattler. They also have faced Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield, Brock Purdy. So there you can poke holes, but I do think I'd just object if you ask me who has the outright better defense. I would choose Seahawks anyways. So I do have a little bit maybe
the Seahawks too.
Yeah, so I think the from a if you're asking me which passing game has a little more success, I actually would lean towards Seattle. If you're making,
I lean towards Seattle as well. I think in part because I trust the formula for the Seahawks more. Like I think the Seahawks
we still do have
stick.
Darnold against the team that can get after him, and this was definitely a Darnold seeing ghost game last year in that playoff game against this front.
Yeah, but how much is he going to be dropping back? Like they will run. They had a 20.
They are road dogs though, so we are hoping. Yeah, I mean it was hilarious. Well, also they came out in the second half and they actually were going to throw again, and he had 2 turnovers, and they were like, nope. He dropped that snap on the goal line, and then he threw that duck where he got hit, and they're like, never again. Like we gotta get out of here.
Done.
Like,
yeah.
Simulate to end. Simulate to get out of here. We're not throwing it off. Dude, but like this is maybe an environment though where we get dropbacks from this team, like a road dog. Like
I don't think so.
Probably not, but we can at least tell ourselves. We can tell ourselves that.
I'm not telling myself that.
Jackson Smith and Jigba's running 24.8 routes per game. What if we get 35 Jackson Smith and Jigba pass routes?
That's possible. I think. I mean, we did see against the Bucks, but that's the Bucks game where they had a 65% pass rate.
Their whole defense was hurt too.
Their whole defense was hurt.
I know.
They had the 49ers in week 1. They had a 66% expected pass rate. They passed 51% of the time. I think that type of outcome is far more likely than them passing in line with like a mid-60s game script.
Yeah.
They've
great
also
run defense.
Great run defense for both.
Both of these run defenses are awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing though, so you talk about like the schedule stuff as we're trying to figure out like how this game plays out. Stafford has been going against very weak pass rushes for weeks now. For weeks. He really hasn't faced anybody since week 3 with any kind of pass rush. Where's the note here? The Eagles, and in week 1 he got the Texans. Those are the 2 pass rushes that he's faced that have really done anything. And since then, it's just like a bunch of cake pass rush matchups. And this is an offensive line that's not very good. So, okay, here it is. The Texans and the Eagles are 7th in quick pressure rate. He got them in week 1 and then week 3.
Yep.
Since week 3, he's faced the Colts, 49ers, Ravens, Jaguars, Saints, and 49ers again, who rank 25th, 26th, 27th, 19th, 29th, and 49ers 26th. In quick pressure rate. So this is, I think, a big factor in why Matthew Stafford has been on this tear.
Yeah.
He just isn't getting pressured. And
to be fair, he has like taken good matchups and then like layered on good performances on both.
For sure.
To be fair, but like also, yes, he's had a nice.
Matthew Stafford's very good.
Yes.
It's not that I'm not saying he's super pressure sensitive. I'm saying the Rams offensive line isn't good.
Yeah.
It's Patriots-esque where they had that run of incredibly soft matchups, and then they get, the Falcons and the Bucks. You're like, oh, yeah, this Patriots offensive line isn't that good, actually. It's not terrible, but it's not good. And the Rams offensive line is not good. They're 20th in quick pressure rate this year. They're going to allow pressure here. And on the Rams side, I actually am interested in Puka Nacua this week as one of these expensive receivers because they're key to victory. The only way I really see them putting up a ton of points is if Puka goes nuts here. because the Seahawks are good against quick throws. They have a high success rate when teams throw quickly, 2.5 seconds or less, and we're not seeing teams pass on them quickly a ton because they don't blitz. The Seahawks, they have the third lowest blitz per dropback rate. They have really good coverage, and they pressure, but they create a situation where you can't you can't just pass quickly against them to mitigate their pressure like you can against the Browns or against the Steelers. This is like I talked about earlier, like kind of like the Packers, where you're kind of in a bind, where getting the ball out quickly is a difficult thing to do. Unless you have Puka Nacua, because Puka Nacua, when they have gotten pressure this year, the Rams, again, that's only been twice really that they faced elite pass rushes or high end pass rushes in the Texans and the Eagles. Puka Nacua had a 50% targets per out run in both games. He's the key here. Getting the ball out quickly is what they need to do, and they can do that with Nacua, who gets open incredibly quickly. He has the highest open score in the league. He's got 3.44 yards per out run. We know how incredibly good he is, but he's specifically good at the thing they need to overcome this matchup. And you just mentioned that the run defense is awesome on both sides. This is not a good Kyren setup. I don't think this is a great Devontae Adams setup. It's not terrible, but he's also banged up.
He's hurt.
So I just think it's like kind of Nacua or nothing.
Are you not? So the other wild card here, though, is that since they have faced those good pass rushes, is they've shifted now to running all this 13 personnel. And we talked a lot about it. So they're going to be playing a lot more tight ends.
They pass out of that, though.
Yeah, that's probably what they'll be doing, right? I don't see why they're going to get rid of it here is the problem.
But that's not bad for Puka.
Oh, it has been bad for him. So
yeah, but he hasn't been playing. Like he's had his routes have been way down, 55, 65, and 62. Yeah. But he's been hurt.
Well, no, because of this. So Stafford has 23 dropbacks with 3 or more tight ends on the field. Nakua's been on the field for one of those. This is like where they're taking him off the field.
Okay. Okay.
In his games played all year, Nakua's games played all year, not even in this recent shift, Stafford has 46 dropbacks with 2 or more tight ends on the field. Nakua's only been on the field for 39% of those, 18 of them. So like that's where they're getting him off the field. So it's and this could flip. Maybe the Adams injury like flips. So they've also been playing Mumfeld on these snaps. It's like the Trey Harris shit, right? Like why are you involved? Like why are you a thing, Mumfield? Like, but he's playing on these plays. And one of the things Seattle's actually been vulnerable to is like, well, tight ends too. So it's like, man, like is McVay going to scrap this here? I actually don't know if he is, right? Like, because well, first of all, on these plays, Stafford on 13 personnel, Stafford now the past 3 weeks is 22 of 31, 8 yards per pass, and 8 touchdowns and 0 interceptions from 13 personnel. The next closest quarterback this season with touchdowns thrown at 3 or more tight ends on the field is Aaron Rodgers, obviously with only 3, and this is only a 3-week sample. He's got 8 of those passing touchdowns, and then tight ends have 29.5% of the catches allowed by Seattle this season. That's the 5th highest rate in the league. They're 23rd in catch rate, the tight ends. They're 23rd in yards per target, the tight ends. Like, I feel like he's been ramping this up for this matchup. Like, this is like something like the dudes are going to be involved here again. I kind of like Terrence Ferguson as like a wild card too. It's like one of these dumb tight ends. We talked about it last week. 23 air yards per target. Like, if you just luck box into anything, it's like he could have a big play. Like. So like he's another one of these like guys I like at the bottom. If you're like doing McBride plus a punt, like he would be one of the dudes.
I definitely prefer Steelers tight end to Rams tight end, but maybe Ferguson is the most interesting guy of the bunch because he was up to 35% route participation last week. And dude, when he's out there, he looks really good. He's like.
Yeah, he misplayed a ball last week. That was a perfect throw from Stafford, and he misplayed it. It was Ferguson's fault for sure. It should have been a huge gain.
Yeah, I guess that's pours a little cold water on the Puka stuff as far as like the.
But I mean, it's Puka Nacua. Like, I'm not gonna talk you out. I'm not gonna talk you out of playing Puka Nacua. Like,
yeah, it is definitely not ideal if he's like because the route participation has been lower than we'd want because he got hurt in Baltimore, 55% route participation there. 65% route participation against the Saints, but he he got banged up in that game. He was at 62% though last week. So yeah, maybe
But that's where
he's
that's where they're alleviating him, is like
right.
on these plays where they're incorporating all the tight ends.
So yeah, but
It's
I
just
mean,
something to keep an eye on. Like first of all, he's still, as I said, that he's still been hyper efficient. Like he's the
of
last 2
course.
weeks, 4.3 yards per run, 2.8 yard in those games. Like when he's been on the field, he's still been Puka Nacua. Like, and this is a big game. Like, how
No,
do
it's more
you
that he's 8,700 and we have choices to make at the top in DFS. Is
correct?
like,
Yeah,
he's like, there's no, I'm not taking this as you're saying Puka Nacua is not an
correct.
amazing
Well,
play. He's an
someone
amazing
will.
play.
Someone will.
Yeah, no, you're saying like, hey, when I'm spending my $9,000 on DraftKings, do I want to spend it on
Well,
Christian
we have the three
McCaffrey or
guys,
JSN
right?
or
Well, we have
Puka? Yeah,
JSN, we have Jamar Chase, like, and
yeah,
him.
Jamar Chase. Yeah. So
And
I think it's
JSN,
a
like, I'm
pretty
talking
fair
myself
point.
in, yeah.
Yeah,
And the flip side is I'm talking myself in the opposite, where like we could get more routes from JSN, and the matchup's just better. Like the Rams, where they've been vulnerable, is to these wide receiver ones, these outside targets. And it's like, man, I really think like this is a spot for JSN to kind of go crazy.
the thing with the Seahawks is that like you look at what's happening, like how are they doing this, and they're running the ball like nonstop. They refuse to not run the ball, and then what they do is they take shots with Sam Darnold. So they're like not asking Sam Darnold to do like kind of high success rate underneath stuff. But then kind of counterintuitively, it leads to this super high success rate for Sam Darnold doing deeper stuff because they only ask him to do the stuff that Sam Darnold's really good at, basically. So
It's
that's
what we were talking about with Mac Jones for weeks, right?
yeah, it's like you only ask the quarterback to do what he's good at. This also really only works because they have an awesome defense. So they just like keep
Correct.
and so my thing with you with the drop back volume where I would be concerned is that Rams go up 10. What's the next drive for the Seahawks look like? It looks exactly the same as the
The same
previous
as the
drives.
previous
It
two.
doesn't. They're not changing
And
anything.
from a real football stance, like they're like the tough thing to bet on Seattle is just outright stuff is like they protect the football for a good team. They do not take care of the football very well. And part of that is because Sam Darnold is still Sam Darnold when the chips all come
Yeah.
down. Like he still has a 2.6% interception rate. He has 5 fumbles. Like,
Well, he's throwing deep, he's throwing over the middle of the field. That's going to come with,
yeah.
a little bit more. There's a riskier type of throws, but they're throws where you get a lot of efficiency when things
Dude,
go right.
he averages 20 yards per completion on play action passes.
Dude, yeah, well, that's because there's different ways to play action, right?
Yes.
Like David Montgomery last year led all running backs in yards per route run because they throw to their running backs on play action. They do a little bit more. They take some shots, but they,
Yeah.
there's you play action, you get the ball out quick to the running back, right? Or you can do play action where you're like ripping it downfield to JSN, hitting him in stride, and that's the whole Seahawks offense is about creating those plays. And they'll run. It's like, hey man, I will run Zach Charbonnet at you to where you think like 3 runs ago that this had to be the last time this was possible for an offense to do this. And then
Yeah.
as soon as you think that's all I do, here's JSN. That to me is what the Seahawks offense is. It
He had
works really well.
93 yards last week and ran 11 routes.
Dude, his yards per route run was over 8. It was 8.45.
I keep just like finding new ways to talk about like how stupid his season is right now. Yeah.
I'm in a guillotine league and I've been hoarding fab, and I had like 400 fab something, and everyone the next highest was 251. So I did 252 for JSN. I was like,
Yes.
this is the only, I'm not putting it, there's no contingents on this build. I have JSN now. Felt pretty
Just
good.
absolutely bonkers, man.
Yeah.
And we'll
It's
probably
crazy, man.
see more Shaheed and stuff this week. We also have the Cooper Cup revenge narrative stuff, but the JSN, man. JSN.
I'm pretty skeptical that there's like any major
I
increase in
know.
routes, but
I'm more
who
optimistic,
cares?
but
Who
yeah.
cares?
I guess I guess that's the other corners. Like, well, what? Who cares? I'm
Yeah,
thinking about like, what if we got 35 routes? You're just like, well, what if we keep getting 25?
what if we keep getting 8 yards per route run, bro?
What if we just this? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm poo-pooing JSN, but also purely in the context of him
Seattle.
being
You're poo-pooing
8,900.
Seattle,
I'm
not him.
poo-pooing Seattle's drop back volume.
Yes. Their desire to throw
But
the
I'm not.
football.
You know what? I'm not poo-pooing Seattle's overall offensive philosophy or formula here. I think they just keep rolling where their defense. I believe in their defense to pressure Stafford. Like I was saying, I think the Rams' passing offense is like a little bit. They're not like schedule merchants, but they have a weakness that has not been exposed recently and is about to. Is what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
And so, I don't think the Rams are going to light up the Seahawks defense. I really don't. Unless Puka goes nuts. I think that's
No, like I said,
the
there's
fact.
an outcome too where this is like a fist fight. Like this game
Yeah,
could
or
be
like a
just like
rock
an out.
fight, like an old
Yeah.
school, like
Yeah.
post-apocalyptic. Yeah.
It's a tough game. It's not a game like I'm outright looking to like stack. Well, first of all, it's like impossible to do because everyone's so damn expensive. But it's also one that I'm just like not looking to outright go
Have
crazy
you
with.
asked the Sims to give you Nakua and JSN?
I haven't, but I assume it's just gonna be the same Darnell Mooney.
There's a lot of Darnell Mooney.
It's just gonna keep giving me Darnell Mooney. But I do think I think like Ferguson is an interesting punt. Like if
Yeah,
you're trying to do the builds like we're talking about, like where you I know you're playing like a 3K player to like get to the lineup you want to get to. Because we were doing this last week with guys like Kyle Williams, right? Like it was the whole philosophy. Like I'm just looking for one play on my 3K dude, and we have a few of those guys this week, and I think Terrence Ferguson would be one of them.
I agree. I think Terrence Ferguson's like one of those plays that, I mean, it also as you get further into the slate, you're kind of like, man, it would be really nice if I could find somebody who's super cheap that would unlock some stuff. Ferguson has had yards per route runs this year. Hang on. I need to lower there's so few routes. These are going to be kind of crazy, but
Yeah, because
I,
yeah.
I need to like lower my my route threshold. One second. Okay, so his yards per route run on the season is 2.82. Targets per route run of 22%. First read target rate of 18%. So he's like one of these classic tight ends.
They're bringing him
like,
in to run a shot play, man.
They're bringing him. They've got a package. He's a guy with a package, right?
He does.
Phrasing.
Yeah. Said a lot of that here.
I put a Penix joke in the walkthrough this week with are we still doing phrasing? I think if you've got a package designed for you, then this is
because the other guys do
the
too,
matchup
but like
for it,
they're
right?
all like dudes you would even if they score a touchdown, you're not even like happy about it really. Like the Davis Allens, Tyler Higbees, Coley Parkins, like they could get you a touchdown, but like it's not what's it coming with.
Where was the pass caught? Because Ferguson's might have been caught at the 30-yard line.
Correct. That's why I think he is appealing. Like when we talk about like Darnell Washington, like, and we could bring up, we can even have a conversation about Elijah Higgins in the next game. But like Ferguson of the paydown guys is the dude that like could literally have a 40-yard touchdown.
Easily. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe easily is a little strong, but
Yeah,
he could do it.
Yeah, they're just not handing out 40-yard touchdowns.
Just put it in.
only Jonathan Taylor gets those handed. They're only easy. They're only easy for him.
Yeah, fair. All right. That's that game. Let's go to we did the Browns at Ravens already.
We did. We have two left.
The 49ers at Cardinals. Yeah.
We've been very chatty here.
This one is a game I really like. Brock Purdy's back.
Thanks.
It's Cardinals defense, very, very easy to move the ball against. Brissett just went against the Seahawks. Looked pretty bad against the elite Seahawks defense, but has been pretty solid otherwise. And the 49ers defense is so banged up. They have Bryce Huff again, but it's still really, really tough to overcome the injuries they've dealt with. They're not a formidable defense at all. So I like Arizona to move the ball here, even with Marvin Harrison out, which does hurt, from a real life perspective. Like that definitely hurts. But it'll help consolidate targets to Trey McBride, who we've been kind of mentioning in passing repeatedly. He is a smash in this setup. Like he is going to get targeted relentlessly. He had 13 targets last week and I think he could top that. You know, that's like
Well, we probably
he's
wanted like that game script, but he can still get there anyways. I mean,
he can
he's
still
got
get there anyway. Yeah, because
yeah.
these teams can push each other. Like this could be kind of a shootout.
Well, the 49ers, I think so we've talked about like the Bengals, right? Like every week the Bengals are on a slate, go to Bengals. And the Cowboys are on a slate, everyone's like, go to the Cowboys. The Commanders are in this bucket too. I think people are ignoring that the 49ers are in this bucket.
Yep.
Like the 49ers are 30th in defensive EPA over the past 5 weeks. They're 28th in points allowed per drive. They have no healthy defenders. They've lost a key core defender at every level of the defense. They also like when you look at
And
this
it's like
matchup,
the dudes, like
the dude,
who
like all
right?
pros, like
Yeah,
literally like
all
all
pros.
pro dudes. Like,
Yeah.
and when you look at Brissett, since he's taken over, he's the highest pressured quarterback in the NFL. No quarterback's been pressured at a high rate. He's taken 5 or more sacks in his past 3 games, but he's faced all teams that can get after the quarterback. And the 49ers over the past 7 games are dead last in pressure rate. They're 31st in sack rate over the past. They haven't had more than 2 sacks in a game since week 2. They're starting to get desperate too. They're another one of these teams. They blitzed last week on a season high 52% of dropbacks. Robert Saleh never blitzes. They're desperate, dude. Their previous high blitz rate was 31%. Like they're just trying everything. Over that span that I talked about, they're 26th in completion rate allowed, 24th in yards or pass attempts allowed, they're 25th in touchdown rate allowed. They've allowed a QB1 scoring to every quarterback except for phrasing Michael Penix. It's like I even think with Harrison out, they're still going to move the football, and Jacoby Brissett is in play here. This game, and we on the flip side, we have the 49ers, the healthiest they've ever been since the first 10 plays of the season. Everyone's
Yep.
back. Purdy's playing, Pearsall's playing, George Kittle's playing, Juwan Jennings playing, McCaffrey's playing. These guys have together played 10 offensive plays the whole year. This game is and we have all the punt guys. You've got Dortch, you've got Elijah Higgins, you've got Michael Wilson if you want to play him. Yeah, this game is super fun, man. Like I think people are ignoring like the 49ers. If you look at their games that they're playing, these are high scoring games. They're atmospheres. Like, Giants 58 points, last week 68 points. Houston, not so much. That was a 41, but that's Houston's defense more so. Yeah, so I mean, yeah. I
Colby
like this one.
Parkinson had a touchdown last week, and Davis Allen had a touchdown last week. And if I think those go to one of those goes to Adams or Puka, who also scored a touchdown, and they go for 2. I think maybe people are a little bit more into the Cardinals this week, and then Harrison being out hurts
Well,
it too.
Harrison being out, I think, but like you said, you do get some built-in guys because Brissett's 4,900. He's cheap on both sites. You have an instant stack partner in McBride if you only want to do the one. If you want to do doubles, you also have the punt because like Dortch can't get there unless Brissett gets there. Michael
Yeah,
Wilson can't get there unless Brissett got there.
yeah. I think people. I really agree with your point that the kind of the flow chart element isn't fully baked in for the field here, but it probably should be. On the Dortch stuff, like, uh, is he definitely a guy who's going to play way more snaps because Marvin Harrison's out? Like, I've been kind of
Well, he has
skeptical that.
to.
Well, I mean, you can always learn a name.
Yeah,
He's a
Xavier Weaver.
69% slot rate this year. That's 93rd
Yeah.
percentile. I don't know that he's.
Well, they also lost Zay Jones and they also lost Simi Feheko last week. They have 3 receivers that played last week that cannot play this week.
Well, Neil was making fun of me because he said, "Is that an opera singer?" Andre Bocellia was a wide receiver.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
looking.
Is
Xavier Weaver.
Xavier Weaver, the Dream Weaver.
But like we did this, remember, like Cliff Kingsbury, who was the guy, his dude that he,
Oh my gosh, I know who you're talking about too. God, what was his name? Dude, I totally know who you're talking about too.
yeah, and it's like out of nowhere, you're like, who is this guy? I really think this is a who is this guy week, and it's probably Xavier Weaver is who you're asking about.
Well,
But
anytime Dortch has played even 2/3 of the snaps, he's averaged 12 PPR points, which again, you cannot play him on FanDuel. But he averages 5 catches per game. Like he's actually a guy that like when he's been on the field has earned targets like over the course of his career when he's actually had to play.
yeah,
So I think
he's a pure
DraftKings,
slot.
yeah. Well, he might not be here. Well, they might play a lot of 12 too. That's why I keep towing around the Elijah Higgins dance too. Like,
Okay, yeah.
Because Higgins actually has played 43% of the dropbacks this year when Harrison hasn't played. And he actually has a target on 20% of those 1.8 yards per out run, which is good for a tight end.
How much would you pay for Cardinals tight end?
Well, I'm just getting McBride too. Like,
Yeah, you get McBride. Are you want Cardinals tight end or
yeah,
JSN?
yeah, a lot, man. Well, I'm saying one of these guys, like they're complete whack-a-moles. Don't get me wrong, but like if you're gonna play a Brissett lineup and you take one of these guys on, that's how you can get Brissett, McBride, JSN, Jamar Chase.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do prefer
I think
Terrence Ferguson out of the dudes, but I'm just saying.
I get the Greg Dortch stuff where like if he's out there, but like I'm not sure he's out there. Like he'll be out there some. He runs about a third of the routes, so maybe he's up to like 40 something percent, but I don't know. Is he really the next man up?
I think by default, he's got to be. But like you said, it could always be a.
It could be a learned name. Yeah. I'm gonna have to dig into that more because like see if there's any like reports on that. Uh, what did Harrison missed a game this year?
No,
Okay,
he
he
came
played
out of games.
23.
Well,
with
no,
Colts.
because but you can't because they just Zay Flowers was the next dude up, and he's or not
Zay
Zay
Jones. Zay Jones.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, Zay
But Dortch
Jones.
did play 47% route participation in that game.
Yeah.
So he was sort of next man up to it in a sense.
And
So
listen,
maybe
if
I'm
you
wrong.
just want the guy
Maybe he
on the
is
field,
playing
it's
more.
going to be Michael Wilson. He's going to be on the field. I don't know what he's
Well,
going to do. He's going to be out there though.
yeah, but so Dortch the last couple games, 30%, 39% route participation has not been targeted. He has a 13% targets per route run this year, 0.59 yards per route run. Like, I don't know that he's that much worse than or that much better than Michael Wilson, who is definitely going to run more routes. Like
Definitely.
like that's that's a
And
big
to be
favorite.
fair, two of his best career games have come against the 49ers, which doesn't matter for here. It's just fun to talk about, but like
Yeah,
he's going to be on the field the most.
he's
I
going to
think
be
that
on the field the
they're
most.
and honestly like they're beatable everywhere. Like
Yeah, so Wilson's my preferred way to play it, where
yeah, he
he's
would be mine too.
he's only 500 more than Dortch, and I just know I'm getting the routes. So yeah, but my favorite way to play it is just Trey McBride.
Just
Give me
trade
Trey
right.
McBride. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Well, yeah.
Brissett to McBride, we could do that. We don't have to double. We could single it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just been going through the 3K guys that we could potentially weasel into lineups. That's it.
On the 49ers side, how interested are you in their passing game with Purdy back?
It's a little tough to kind of diagnose because we just haven't seen it, right? Like, but I think CMC's in play. We talked about last week. So, like, where we are with CMC is you now ask yourself at his salary, not will he be an RB1? Can he be the RB1? And I do think you can make a case for it here. It does take some guesswork because the receiving stuff could be
It's
fluid.
not even can he be the RB1? It's like how much does the RB1 score this week?
Right.
But
But last week we kind of talked ourselves out of it when we talked about the matchup because the only way Christian McCaffrey is delivering these like 30-point games, the 30 to 35s, are when he's been able to put the rushing with the receiving. And that's how we kind of talked ourselves out of it last week. We're like, well, we are not going to get the rushing here. We could get it here. Arizona.
Brian Robinson got more carries though last week.
He looked good too, man. To be honest,
Yeah,
looked pretty good. But yeah,
McCaffrey has not looked good.
no. So it's one of these like, do you look at this because like the Cardinals have gotten a little leakier against the run the last month. So could this be a better running spot with them all healthy? But yeah, trying to diagnose who you want as a 49er is the toughest part, though. But I know I think they're gonna move the ball.
Too.
They're gonna move the ball though.
They're definitely gonna move the
ball. But that's
ball.
what gives me confidence in just playing Brissett and not even being scared about the Marv stuff. I actually think the 49ers are gonna score.
49ers are gonna score, and I think the Cardinals are gonna score. This is probably my favorite game environment of the entire slate, where I like the Bengals and the Steelers. That's probably my favorite of the 1 p.m. window. But this game environment could be like really fun, where everyone's scoring. There's a lot of scoring.
Yeah.
49ers might be premium Bengals, right?
Yeah, they could be.
The defense is more almost as bad. Yeah, it's right. It's harder to predict the targets. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that the 49ers are a team largely the rest of the year. Like this is a team that, because now that the offense is fully healthy too, like they could be a carnival team that's not considered a carnival team now. Unfortunately, they play the Panthers and Browns next, which is stupid. But they do have like games against like the Colts and Bears as well. Yeah, they're actually, you know what? The next 3 weeks are stupid for the 49ers. We gotta get it now. Or get it now while we can.
You're
Dude,
stacking based on the upcoming schedule. Just like I can't play this.
well, no, we're
This
playing them
team later.
now. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
we're playing them
Because
now.
no, except the next they go after this, they go Panthers, Browns, bye, Titans.
Oh man.
It's like
And
on
then
series.
what?
Then
What do we
Colts.
get in the
Then we get Colts
Colts?
Bears.
Okay.
Colts Bears Seahawks to close the year for DFS, but Colts Bears for the fantasy playoffs, and then Seahawks DFS final week,
Dude.
which will probably matter for a
Is
lot
that
of
week
things.
17 or 18?
That's 18, so like it'll
Oh,
matter
okay.
for a lot. Week 17 is the Bears, week 16 is the Colts.
So you're telling me I'm going to get buried by Caleb Williams because he happens to play the 49ers in week 17?
And Daniel
even though
Jones.
He's not been very good. Yeah, oh God. I actually have Daniel Jones on some important teams, so I'm
There
good
you
with him.
go. And that's in Indy. That's an in Indy game. That's an indoor.
Wow. Jonathan Taylor. You can lock it in. Put it in ink. He's the dude you needed. All right. Let's go to the final game here. We got the Browns and the Ravens out of the way early so that we didn't risk closing on that game.
Yeah.
Let's close on the Chiefs at Broncos. Patrick Mahomes in this game, it's strength on strength. Broncos defense, second in DVOA overall, fourth in passing DVOA. Mahomes is coming off this bad game against the Bills, but is still quarterback one in EPA per game. After last night, he's up to plus 650 for MVP, which I'm kind of into because he's going to have to beat the Broncos twice, but if they win the AFC West.
Yeah, their gauntlet is solid here. Like they play some good teams.
But it's like if they come through this and
correct.
win the AFC West,
beating these teams,
he's winning MVP. And
yeah, brace yourselves, everyone.
Yeah, brace yourselves. like the Patriots can win out and Mahomes can win MVP because this schedule's so much harder and the narrative will be a lot stronger and he's going to be really, really efficient if they actually pull it off. And he's currently leading all quarterbacks in efficiency. So, yeah, and look, man, I think Mahomes does it here. I'm backing Mahomes against this defense. Pat Surtain was out of practice to start the week.
Yeah, they're on bye next week too. So
we're
they're gonna use this bridge to
DNP. He's out.
Yeah,
he's officially out. Okay,
yeah. And Alex Singleton's also not playing in this game.
So I mean, I'm into Rice here. I think Worthy's actually kind of interesting here. I was looking at the double team stuff for Rice. 39% double coverage rate against the Bills. They really took him away as that underneath option. His ADOT went from 2 in week 7, 3.6 in week 6, in week 8, and then 14.5 against the Bills. We had him on one of our pick'ems and was sweating it the whole time and, got there on that long pass. It was just like in the second half, they just couldn't get him the ball. Like it wasn't normal Rice stuff.
Their game plan in week 9, because they had a bye, so this kind of gotten like glossed over because they didn't play, was egregious. Like they had an egregious game plan against what Sean McDermott was doing. They did everything Sean McDermott wanted them to do. Nagy and the Chiefs have talked all year about wanting to throw the ball downfield, and all Sean McDermott did was completely adjust. They used 6 defensive backs on 68% of the dropbacks as the second highest rate for a team in any game this season. They blitzed Mahomes only 8% of the time. They sent 5 or more rushers on only 4 snaps all game. They played 2-man fronts on a season high 21% of their snaps. We've seen Big Lou Anarumo do this at times with Mahomes. And what do you do to combat that? You run and you go to a quick passing game. What did the Chiefs do? They just tried to throw everything downfield. Mahomes had a season high air yards per pass attempt, season high 56% of his passes were 10 or more yards downfield. And like it was trash. It was a trash game plan against, and Sean McDermott was probably giggling on the sideline. Like they're still doing it. Like they're still doing it. Like, look at this. that was the first time like in a while where I remembered Matt Nagy was like involved with the Chiefs. Like because they were running pure for a bit, and like it was like, oh, fun. Chiefs are fun again. And that was like I was watching the game. My son was like, why are they repeatedly just trying to throw downfield? It's like they're not getting any. They're getting all coverage. It's all coverage. Like, and like you would figure that'd be the game where Rice goes crazy. Like you want to play all this coverage?
100%.
Guess what? I'm gonna paper cut you with Rashee Rice for 12 targets. Like watch this. It was so frustrating watching that game. The other thing too is that even without them doing that, because they tried to go downfield so much, he ended up being pressured on a season high rate of his dropbacks, and that's been a problem for him all year. He's been awful under pressure this year. He's 27th in completion rate under pressure. Only Caleb Williams is a higher inaccurate throw rate under pressure than Patrick Mahomes, and that's relevant here still because there's some moving parts. The Broncos, they can still rush the passer. Like they can still rush the passer, so that matters. And when these teams have played the past 2 times, I mean, Mahomes has taken sack rates way above his norms in these matchups. So yeah, it's interesting. I like Rice a lot here still because the Broncos have changed their defense under Surtain, which obviously makes sense. They've played their 2 lowest rates of man coverage. They're playing a lot more too high, and that's just like we talk about Rashee Rice all the time. You want to drop back and play all his zone coverage. This is like where he flourishes. So I think it could be a high target
They don't
game.
double cover much at all. And they blitz a ton. So it's like that the extra defenders are coming at Mahomes, right? So I think I like Rice a lot here.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a high target game for Rashee Rice.
High target game for Rice, yeah. Josh Simmons practiced in full all week. It's possible he returns.
Yeah, he's gonna play.
Okay. So that means that they'll have their full offensive line healthy in this game. This is a really difficult pass rush matchup for sure. Second in quick pressure rate, second in pressure rate. But, Surtain being out matters. And it's one of these defenses where you can hit them for some big plays.
Yeah, we've seen good passing games against them this year for as good as they are.
Yeah.
It's just volatile.
It's volatile. It's a little they're like a better version of the Browns or something where it's like when they don't get you, you can get them. Maybe the Vikings are the better comparison because they blitz so much, but and the Browns don't blitz so much, but they play a lot of man like the Browns with Surtain anyway. So yeah, I do like Mahomes here. What do you think about Worthy? I think he's kind of interesting because that same type of game plan might just work a lot better here, even if the Chiefs get sacked and Mahomes maybe throws a pick or whatever, but it's generating big plays in a way it wasn't against the Bills.
Yeah, and that's what you kind of just what you need with Worthy now. We now have Worthy. He's played 25 career games where he hasn't left a game early, and he's gone over 80 yards in 3 of those. He's been below 50 yards in 16 of those games. Denver's only allowed 2 touchdowns to wide receivers too this year. So like you're gonna need a big
Jameson
play.
Williamsy before Dan Campbell took over playing call.
Correct. Yeah. And I think he does offer more than just being a vertical target, obviously, too. It's just we haven't seen him be that good of a fantasy player.
Right.
That's the only thing. So
that's the only thing he said
on a fantasy podcast. Here's the thing.
Just absolutely buried him.
Here's the thing. And since Rice has been back, I mean, since Worthy's been back, not even since Rice has been back, he's been a wide receiver higher in 2 of his 6 games.
A wide receiver, what are higher?
Like a top 36 scorer in 2 of his 6 games. It's just hard. It's hard. He has an ankle injury or something now out of the bye. I don't know.
He was full practice today.
Okay, good. And he still is playing with this harness on his shoulder too.
Yeah, well, he's a re-injury risk all year. Like that's not going to.
That's just we're going to live with that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we're living with that. I'm guessing he gets surgery after the season. I think.
He will. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is another game that could be a rock fight, though, too.
It could be. I'm kind of backing Mahomes, but
I would definitely back Mahomes as well.
Well, I mean, I'm taking Mahomes. Like if it's like Broncos defense versus Mahomes, like give me Mahomes.
Correct.
But I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes versus Bo Nix, and I'm backing Mahomes. Everyone's backing Mahomes there. But speaking of Knicks, I think this is like I could see him absolutely cratering here. He's been so bad. So he's been good against the Colts. He was 85th percentile in EPA per play against the Colts in week 2. He's had 2 other games over the 55th percentile in EPA per play.
Completely obvious too.
I know but take a second, listener. Who are they against? They're against the Bengals and the Cowboys.
Yeah.
The
And this isn't even just this year. This is a 2-year thing. It's one of the things I wrote why he was a fade for me this offseason is that he was getting drafted as like he was getting drafted as fantasy finish last year, but like he was completely only a spike week player against obvious, like completely cupcake matchups. And it's the same thing. It's just literally gone right into this year.
It's very Caleb Williams-y where like this dude is sucked against the Raiders, right? It's like you can do it against the Cowboys and against the Bengals, but like not even the Raiders is bad enough for you to spike against. It's got to be real soft for you to definitely get efficiency from Bo Nix. He has, the ability to spike up here and there when you don't expect it, but it's pretty predictable.
I'm also super nervous about this change offensively to our with removing J.K. Dobbins from this offense because for a couple reasons. One, I don't think that they're going to just turn R.J. Harvey into J.K. Dobbins. There is some adjacency here to like the Travion Henderson stuff. They might try it, but I don't think they can. So to me, the biggest problem for the Broncos all year is because they haven't like settled on an offensive identity. And I think the best part of their offense was their offensive line and J.K. Dobbins, and they just never swerved into that. And now they might have that removed as an option. And
Dobbins had a 45% success rate, and
I'm worried about that. And there's some of that stuff where it's like Henderson, small sample, like this is an explosive player. He could be better on a larger sample too. But I'm worried that if you have to build the whole plane out of the Bo Nix side of the thing, that it's not very good.
No, I completely agree.
Because the Broncos, when you watch them, it's like they live like a weird thing where like they're running the football well, and then they're like, "What if we just like ran all these wide receiver screens and like the stuff behind the line of scrimmage?" And you're just like, it's like, dude, pick a lane. Like you can't reinvent the Saints, dude. The 2005 Saints, like that's not.
Don't tell that to Sean Payton.
I know, but like you don't have Drew Brees, but Drew Brees, Bo Nix can't win like Drew Brees wins. Like diagnosing pre-snap, like he can do all the short stuff, like the design stuff, but like he needs his handheld.
Yeah.
And I'm worried that if you remove like the most functional part of this offense, or the most consistent part of this offense, which was the running game.
Yeah.
Like this could be bad.
Because even with Nix, like he has spiked for some good games, but his success rate. Here's the quarterbacks with a lower success rate than Nix this year: Russell Wilson, Cam Ward, Jonathan James McCarthy.
Thank you.
Dylan Gabriel.
Thanks for
I had to remember which order. I had to pause it because
I appreciate that. That goes a long way in my book.
It's not consistent down to down, quarter to quarter, game to game. So removing Dobbins with the 45% success rate is a problem. You go to RJ Harvey, 28% is running back 44. Running back 10, Dobbins, running back 44 to Harvey. You weren't actually seeing Harvey increase his carries. In fact, they were declining. Dobbins had 54% of carries in week 6, then 58, then 54. And then in week 9, he was up to 65% and 67% against the Raiders. So you had Harvey kind of get a little bit more working in, and then he fell to 9 and 15% of carries the last 2 weeks. The reason I say I think maybe they will try to turn him into J.K. Dobbins, in the sense that they just like utilize him as their main guy. They have no other options. So it's Jaleel McLaughlin and Tyler Bidet practice squad. I was like, we're going to learn a practice squad name. It's Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah.
There's nobody. Deuce Vaughn's like 170 pounds. There's nobody who can be.
And Jaleel McLaughlin's 185.
Yeah. And 5'7", I think. Or I think he's 5'8", and Bidet's 5'7". RJ Harvey's like the tallest and biggest running back on this roster. And 5'8", 205. So
as I said, there is some, like I said, some of the Travion stuff does exist. I mean, it could be small sample. He did have the explosive against the Cowboys
I
early in
think
the
he's going to get
game.
chances. I
He
think
is going to get
like, how do they
chances.
not give him chances?
They have to. Even if he only gets, say, 3/4 of the Dobbin stuff, that still is going to put him at like 14 to 17 touches combined with
Yeah.
like the role he had already.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been wrestling with him versus Woody Marks because I feel much better about Woody Marks
Correct.
from a touch perspective, like with
Probably
the
an ownership
snaps.
thing.
Yeah, maybe it's an ownership thing. But when I think about Harvey, I'm like, man, he's so much more explosive. Although
Yeah.
Marks is explosive, sort of. He's not, but like Harvey can actually break a tackle. So I don't know. But I think I don't think he's ever going to be J.K. Dobbins. Like J.K. Dobbins was adding legitimate value to this offense as a consistent runner with
Yeah.
explosiveness.
And he, in
But I
theory,
think they're going
was
to
making
try.
Bo Nix as good as possible. And I'm
Oh
worried that
God.
if that is removed and Harvey is still operating at a level that he is, like this could just be a bad offensive game, like outright just bad offensive game again.
Like he has 9 carries and it's just a bunch of bidet on third downs because or the 2-minute drill stuff because they're
Yeah,
just
because
trailing.
that's the wild card here is like he has 4 pass blocking snaps this year.
Yeah. Yeah, negative game script would be a real problem.
And I don't know if they trust him there, but they might just have to trust him there because he's a bigger body.
Well, bidet, I think they'll trust.
Yeah. No, yeah. But that's I said, if it falls apart. But usually you get a lot of the pass blocking stuff actually on early downs.
Right.
Because that's when you're play actioning or you're throwing from heavier sets and you have to have your running back stay in block. So I'm very curious to see what happens. Because he just hasn't been put in that spot yet. He literally has 4 pass blocking snaps. And he was the worst pass blocking prospect in this draft class at running back. Like bar none the worst.
What's Deuce Vaughn's price?
No, I'm not irritating this. No, they're gonna, like you said, they're gonna have to try this. They have to.
Yeah,
But
although as
I'm
you talk
worried that
through
if
it, like
I'm worried
Jaleel
if it doesn't
McLaughlin
work.
or
Yeah.
Bidet, they could get more because when you look at the team attempt shares, Bidet has peaked at 4% and been at 0% in every week, but
He has
2.
2 carries all year.
That's a more efficient way of saying that.
Yeah, 2 carries all year.
So
McLaughlin's been
yeah,
active once and had
right.
1 carry. I think he played 6 snaps the game he was active.
McLaughlin, maybe okay. If McLaughlin's inactive for this game, which I guess he wouldn't be, but
I assume he won't. Yeah.
that's where you go. What else can they do?
What else can they do?
Marvin Mims?
Yeah, we honestly though we might actually see him play back in the backfield again, like we did at the end of last year, like the absolute possibility. But that's basically what Harvey's role has been. What we saw Mims have at the end of last year. That's like what he's been doing. He comes in the game. He
Like
has
in
his
totality, like that's he doesn't do other stuff.
no.
He just
That's
did
it.
what Mims was doing last year.
Yeah, dude. He's targeted on 25% of his routes. Only Christian McCaffrey and Devin Achane are higher. But he doesn't. It's all design stuff. It's the same thing. It's
Yeah,
like when they were moving Mims in the backfield and giving him like those screens and stuff. It's like what they do with Harvey.
he's the Terrence Ferguson of
But
running
also
backs.
they spent a second round pick on this dude. Like you have to play him here.
They like Terrence Ferguson. My
Like
analogy holds.
you have to play him here. Like you have to.
Well, we don't have to. You're
No,
saying
they.
Peyton. Yeah. Yeah, you have to. Although we saw with the Patriots, they were like, no, we're going to play Terrell Jennings. That's why I went Terrell Jennings hunting because I was like, there's got to be a Terrell Jennings that we're going to learn about, but there's not.
Yeah, it's Deuce Vaughn and Joel McLaughlin.
But now I'm worried that it's actually Jaleel
Like I said,
McLaughlin instead of Terrell
I'm
Jennings.
systemically scared of the entire offense here.
Me too. Which makes Harvey the pass blocking point's really good because it makes Harvey a lot more fragile.
Yeah, like I said, that's a big concern because that's in his college profile.
Right. He was a former quarterback though. Like, shouldn't he be like pretty good at that stuff? I know he's small, but like he would be,
and he's not like super small. It's like he's Travion-ish, like
yeah. He's built. So it is strange.
He's explosive player. That's the one out you have, and he's going to catch passes because this is what the Broncos do. Like the Broncos throw to the running backs,
Right.
And you remove the Dobbins hollow routes. It's just it's tricky, man. It's tricky. Like I said, I'm scared of the defense, of the offense as a whole, because one, it hasn't been good. The best part of it's now not playing, and you're asking Bo Nix against Steve Spagnuolo, who's had a bye week, to cook some shit up.
Yeah. Do you have any interest in the actual downfield passing game? I noted in the walkthrough, Franklin has actually flipped Sutton in target share now. He's got a 22% target share to Sutton's 21. And then if you look at first read stuff over the last few weeks, Franklin over the last 4 games, Franklin leads 17% to 15%. He trails 15% to 13% over the year.
Franklin's getting all the stuff that Bo Nix is bad at outside of the red zone. Because it's funny because you're right. He's led the team in targets 4 straight games, matched Sutton in the 5th game. But he's also been below 50 yards in 7 of 10 games this year because none of the card targets are catchable. So Bo Nix on throws to Franklin specifically, 10 or more yards downfield, has completed 11 of 35 pass attempts. Bo Nix in general is terrible throwing downfield altogether. Like he's this year, the only quarterbacks that have completed a lower rate of throws 10 or more yards downfield than Bo Nix are Bryce Young, Cam Ward, and Dylan Gabriel.
This dude was going the 8th round of best ball drafts.
Yeah, it's rough. He was
really rough.
He was a hard fade for me. So I'm glad
he was a bad pick. Yeah, it was not. I mean, honestly, like I would have taken him plenty if he was like pick 115. It was like just an easy like, oh, this is too expensive. I'm not doing this.
Yeah,
but
well, and also we had the Drake May blinders.
Drake May, man, those are good blinders. Actually, those blinders fucking slap. I want some more blinders like that.
If you look at it though, like I've been talking, because this was my thing earlier when we were doing the Mims versus Franklin stuff versus Dallas. Like the one thing that's been consistent for Franklin though is that like, dude, he has a legit role in the red zone. Like he's
had 4 touchdowns over the last 4 weeks.
He's the wide receiver 5 in red zone target share. He has 8 end zone targets, and that's not even counting his 3 2-point conversions. Like then, like when you're running 2-point conversions, those are like dialed up plays, like short yardage plays for a specific player. So like they use him down there.
He's their wide receiver 1.
Like, yeah, the problem is,
are we allowed to say it? He leads them in target share.
Yeah,
do we have to pretend like it's Sutton?
I guess, yeah. I think it's still probably more of a 1A 1B thing. But
It is. It's very much a split, but
it's just the problem is that Bo Nix can't complete it. These throws.
You're calling bullshit on target share because the targets don't matter.
Yeah, basically. That's exactly what I'm saying. None of these targets matter, so why should I care?
Yards per route run, Sutton leads by a lot, 1.64 to 1.38. So that backs up your point there. These are fake targets.
Yeah. If you do want to, no, I'm not playing Sutton this week either. But if in season long you're like, I have to play him, like you're gonna get some man coverage stuff for Sutton, and maybe that helps you out.
That's fair.
But Chiefs are 2nd in points allowed per game to wide receiver 1s. So no matter if you would diagnose that who you are on whichever player. But
to wrap things up, let's go back to the Chiefs real quick and talk about Rice, who's obviously we both like him, but in comparison to the guys like JSN and Jamar Chase, we're like these higher priced receivers, like how close is he to those guys for you, or is he close at all?
He's still behind because those guys get so much downfield stuff too. Like they can win, but I am interested. He's cheaper though too, so I think it just build dependent.
It's like 1,000 cheaper than.
Yeah, as I said, so it's like build dependent. Yeah. Like I think if you have a lineup that you really love, and you have Rice in it, and you want to try to like cut salary to get some else, I think you just leave the Rice lineup alone. Like you don't start just pulling away pieces to get that extra money. Is what I'm saying.
I see. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I would be.
You have a lineup and Rice fits. Play Rice.
Correct. I actually am going to play him still too, and mix him in because I'm going to be playing a lot of 2 wide receiver heavy stuff and maybe 3 wide receiver stuff.
You're playing Darnell Mooney, dude.
No, I'm gonna play Trey McBride at the crappy tight end, and then 3 really good receivers and 2 mid-range running backs. Like I'm gonna do like Aaron Jones, Woody Marks, or Aaron Jones, Jalen Warren, and then I'm gonna do something like Chase, JSN, Rashee Rice, or Justin Jefferson, Trey McBride, some scrub, and then
Terrence Ferguson is
Jacoby
my
Brissett,
favorite of the guys we
and
talked about.
Jacoby Brissett, and then log out.
Jacoby Brissett, Greg Dortch, Michael Wilson, Elijah Higgins.
Exactly, man. Do that gross shit. But no, I'm not gonna always go that deep in the well. But like I am gonna mix in Rice to where these lineups where you can't get to both JSN and
Yeah, no, I think he's pretty exciting here.
especially in
You know,
DraftKings because full PPR.
on DraftKings full PPR. Yeah. But man,
He's been
yeah,
targeted on 36.5% of his routes against zone coverage. Since he entered the NFL, he's number 1 in yards per route run against zone coverage. Like we go to it.
yeah. I mean, I don't think the Broncos are gonna like double team him on 40% of the routes or whatever, like the Bills did. So, and I think he gets that shallow rate out again. So I think he can rack up targets.
Yeah, and if
in
it's a
pretty
quick
big
pressure
way.
game, if the Broncos, just because they still can get a pass rush because they are still the Broncos,
Totally.
like it's still
Got to get the
short.
ball out.
Yeah, short targets. I like it. And they're
I
they're
talked about
not
earlier time to throw against the blitz. Mahomes, you know, I was mentioning it with the Caleb Williams stuff, but his time to throw drops a lot, and the Broncos do blitz. Rice, I think, will be very effective as an outlet pass or outlet target there.
Yep. I mean, they're still giving up some of these games. Like you look at the recently, like Nico Collins 7 for 75, Lamb 7 for 74. Like that's probably like a floor outcome, I think, for Rice. I think that's like where he's gonna live. Like I guess maybe I'd say median outcome, like the 7 for 70 type stuff, I think is where he lives. And then if you get some extra juice, then you end up turning into like the 9-10 catch range.
Yeah. But like I've thought as I think through building lineups, I've compared him in my mind and probably on this podcast already to we're gonna do like 4 hours, I think, to Trey McBride.
The
And I'm
sickos
like,
will love this one.
yes, it goes, you better be real sick. You better be flying somewhere if you're gonna put this thing on. It's like, I hope you're in Europe now, having listened to this. Trey McBride, I kind of like. I think I just want Trey McBride compared to Rice, but I do like
I
Rice.
would too. I would too.
It's more about McBride. Like McBride is such a strong play, and I'm thinking about him. That's where I'm like, I'm thinking about him not as just a receiver, but like a really strong receiver play. To where maybe you do pair him with a punt tight end and just treat him like a receiver, like an underpriced receiver.
Yeah, because the cheap receivers this week, like we had some guys last week, like Judy and Kyle Williams, and even Jalen Lane. I played a little bit, and he caught one pass, but he freed up some stuff that helped. We don't have a lot of those guys this week. It's basically Mooney and
Right.
Dortch. Mooney, Dortch, and Wilson are like the 3 dudes.
Yeah. Honestly, dude, I think Mooney's actually kind of a strong play. Not even joking. Like,
Yeah,
if you think through everything, we talked through the whole slate.
the
Kind of
computer's
makes sense.
also saying
The
it.
computers are right. All right.
Let's
I
get out of
think
here.
we should get out of here. You told me to tee you up at the beginning of the show for this. How about at the 3 hour 41 minute mark? I tee you up instead. What do you have any special
Totally
promotions
slipped my
for
mind.
it?
Yeah, they're gonna be mad at me. The overlords will be mad, but it is yeah, it is a free week at the site. So it's like, and when I say free, it is a trial. It's always presented as free. I know it would be full transparency for me always. It's a trial, so like you can come in, get everything free, not just my stuff because you hear me talk about this stuff, but like you can get all Warren's picks and everything for free this week. And then at the end, it's like like anything, you'll start to be billed for it. So cancel if you don't want to be part of it. You can come just get in, sign up, get everything for free, cancel and get out. But everything is free this week.
Awesome. Check it out and check out Legendary Upside. I got the walkthrough over there, and I'm going to be doing the Sunday night football game as well. Doing a little walkthrough for that. I wrote down which games I needed to do, and I mistakenly wrote down that one. So I wrote it up, and then was like, "God damn it!" It's matter if he does the quick slant over there, and he was going to write that game. So it's additional work for me. But it's honestly, I think it's a pretty fun game, and part of me is happy that I did the extra work. So check that out and check out Matt's stuff. We got waiver wire stuff covered, rankings, all that good stuff. Legendary Upside. Appreciate you guys sticking around with us for. We're gonna have to figure out a way to, when we get the bye weeks over. This is just not gonna cut it. So we're gonna have to figure out a way to get this a little tighter. Hopefully this is the high water mark for the time. But thanks for sticking with us. Good luck in week 11. Hope you guys take something down as a reward for sticking with us.
We did this once without bye weeks.
I know, but it wasn't this long. I don't know what's happening. We're gonna be in the lab. Also,
I do know what happened.
I'm gonna tease a new segment that we're gonna unveil next week, which will.
Ooh,
yeah.
I don't even know about that.
Yeah, it's a surprise for everyone, but me. So look forward to that, and we'll see you next week. Later.